they light the flame. Cigars in hand, never playing tame. And pour the whiskey, let it burn real slow. On the Real Smoke Podcast, the stories flow. Guess they're rolling with a spark in their eyes, talking life's truths and throwing lies. Laughter crackles like a fire alive. Cuba to Kentucky, they always thrive. Real smoke rises in the air tonight. Whiskey's bold, they keep it tight. Stories spark like a flaming glow. Mick and Charles stealing the show.
Welcome to the Real Smoke Podcast with your hosts, Mick and Charles, the podcast that's all about real people, real cigars, and real smoke. Coming to you live from the Real Smoke Virtual Cigar Lounge, bringing you the best of cigars, whiskey, and all the good times in between. It's more than just a podcast, it's a community of cigar lovers. So grab your favorite smoke, pour a drink, and join us as we dive into all things cigars, whiskey, and just having a damn good time. This is the Real Smoke Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 39 of the Real Smoke Podcast. We are your hosts. That dude over there is Mick, and I'm Charles. We're excited because, one, we have a great guest coming on, and two, next week we turn 40. We're old. You're on mute. I always say, gotta check your mic before you come on here, my man.
Let's get that out of the way right to start. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, man. Almost 40. Great guest. I'm excited, brother.
Oh, yeah. But before we get things done, let's go ahead and talk to our family over at Cigar Vault and thank them for all that they do for us.
The Real Smoke Podcast is brought to you by the Cigar Vault Oakdale, your ultimate destination for premium cigars and unforgettable experiences. Whether you're a seasoned aficionado or just starting your cigar journey, they've got you covered. Find them on Instagram at Cigar Vault Oakdale or online at thecigarvault.com. Here's a treat for our listeners. Use promo code REALSMOKE to save 10% on your next order. Let the Cigar Vault Oakdale unlock your next great cigar.
And a huge thanks to everybody over at Cigar Vault for everything that you guys do for us. We greatly appreciate it, and we love the fact that you are on board with us because we're excited to stay on board with you. So what's up, Mick?
Not much. Are we talking about Cigar Vault to start the show, or when are we going to throw that in there? What's the plan for that? We didn't really talk about it.
Let's go ahead and do that one. You guys know that at the beginning of last month, we did a trial thing, and we're still in a trial process, but we kind of did a collaboration with the Cigar Vault. We came up with a Real Smoke 5-pack. And yeah, look at that. It's even got our logo on there. It's got a nice little thank you card in there. And it's got 5 amazing, fantastic cigars. And most of the cigars that's going to be on there each month are stuff that we've smoked and reviewed on here, or stuff that we're coming up with in the future, or just something that we enjoy. If we get stuck on something that we just can't figure out what we want, we give Cigar Vault the opportunity to throw something in there. So, Mick,
yeah,
how quickly did we sell out of the first one? It was just 5 packs, but
yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 days. 2 days, maybe 2 days. I think it was 2 days.
2 days.
Yeah, so we're doing 10 this time. Two of the cigars in this 5-pack are on our upcoming shows, so you can smoke along with us. It's the Patina or de Nicaragua and the Bunny Droppings Habano. So that's 2 upcoming shows that we have. Charles is like, there's one he's not going to stay here. So the other 3 are ones. Other 3 that we've had on past episodes are the Cigar Clowns Rodeo Clown, the Oz Family Caratoba, and what's the last one, Charles?
I don't have my paper in front of me, so I can't read it. You're gonna have to help me out, Mick. What is the name?
The 5th cigar in the pack is the Fortaleza e Libre Intimidador. How'd I do? Was it better?
Do it one more time.
Nope, I'm good. Everybody got the point. Rob, shut up. But yeah, so 5 great cigars. And for this price, because we're not supposed to say prices on here, for this price right there.
You mean this one here?
for that.
Look at that.
price.
I mean, it's pretty dang awesome. So we actually have 10 of these prize packs, or 10 of these packs or 5 packs available. So go ahead and hit up those great people. Type in that code right there. Get that right there. And it's saving you quite a bit on there. So go do that. I would love, again, we have 10 packs. I would love to see by the end of the episode when we message them and say, what do we sell? I want half of them gone. I think with the people that we have that watch on here, I think we get half of them gone. So that's our challenge. Get half of them gone. Think you can do that?
They're all great cigars. I mean, I've had all of them except for the bunny droppings, which I'm looking forward to. But
I love the bunny droppings.
Just the Oz family, the cigar clowns. I mean, you can't go wrong. I'm not saying that name again. But they're
didn't we have one by Greg on there?
We did, yeah.
What's the name of his company?
FYL Intimidator. Yeah.
There you
FYL.
go. Gotcha.
Greg just changed it to that, so I had to stop going through this. Anyway, besides that,
I will give you my top one, and it was you stole my top one, so I will give you my top one.
Yeah.
Do you remember last week when I said my childhood has ended?
Yeah.
My childhood continues. Freaking Ryan Sandberg.
Ryan Sandberg. Yeah, it's on my list.
I mean, where we live, we have the Tennessee Smokies. It's a Cubs affiliate. So Ryan Sandberg came down here, and he was our coach for a year or two. And then,
Okay.
getting to watch him growing up, always loved Ryan Sandberg. And come to find out, he was the next one just a few days later. Good grief.
One of my best friends growing up, man, had a Sandberg jersey, was a huge Cubbies fan. And yeah, it's crazy, man. I guess we're getting old, and people that we idolized growing up, just, it happens, brother. But it's crazy. It's all at once.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw where people was taking like Dolly Parton and all these other people and like putting salt and stuff around to protect these people. And it's like, no joke.
It's crazy. Yeah, that was on my list as well. I got a couple little things here. Everybody say a prayer for me, because I got to shave my beard this weekend. I have to fit test at work. It's not an option, I was told, and I fought it forever. I'm not saying I'm going to be clean shaven, but yeah, this hides a lot of ugly. I need to keep this, and now it's going to be primarily gone after this weekend.
So what's it going to look like? How close?
I'm going to try to keep part of the goatee, and then I'm going to cut everything else down real short and see if I can pass that way. I'm going to play the game a little bit yet. I'm going to try to keep trimming it down till I pass, but it's not going to be good. Don't
you have one that you can like try on and see if it's going to work and just keep?
I did that at work, yeah, and I think I pretty much have it figured out what I have to shave off, but yeah, it's one of the only things I have going for me in life, and got to shave it off like once a year. This happens, and I just don't like it.
So everybody in the comments, help us out. We need to know what shave should Mick do. Should he go with like Fu Manchu? Should he go with he just get the little soul patch? Does he just go big handlebar Hulk Hogan mustache, which I think he should. So I think we should see what people think, and then whoever gets the most, that's what you got to do.
This is what got me back into bourbon when we voted what I should drink for that one show. So
that's that good Virginia Buffalo Trace right there.
It is. That was on my list. My brother-in-law got me back into it. I do like Bowman Brothers. It's a small batch. It was on sale. My brother-in-law Bud, man, he got me back into that. And I do have one last little thing here. So I'm positive we're going to hit our numbers that we tried to for our 1-year anniversary. We're only 10 away on YouTube, and I thank LeeMack for part of that. So we gained like 5 followers in the last 10 minutes, so that's pretty cool. TikTok. Does anybody out there know about TikTok? Because I swore I'd never have one, but I thought for the show I'd have one. And we were getting, right off the bat, 300-400 looks on every post I did. And I was like, man, this is impressive. Like right off the bat, we're getting some looks and some people that we've never connected with, which is awesome. And like an idiot, I saw this, you know how you can click location where you're at? There was one that said PP Creek, and I thought it was hilarious. So I clicked on it every time that I would post. And all of a sudden I got it said, you are now white flagged because you are not in PP Creek. And now we're getting 1 or 2 views per post. So I think
they have a really tight grip on algorithms. So if you're putting out something that is that you can actually say that what you're doing is legitimately false, they will bury you. Mine's been buried for years. Yeah,
they did.
So
blame that one on me.
So we're about how many away on YouTube from 300?
We are 10 away on YouTube, and we are 120 away on Instagram. From 5.
And I think my personal is 60. My personal 69 away. So from its next goal. So we are doing well. Just guys, keep going. Make sure everybody on here does that whole YouTube thing. Like, subscribe, share. If you are one of our one of the many different cigar club that's on here, make sure you put it in your club chat that, hey, we're on here and we're going to have the one and only LeeMack on here. If you are in one of our cigar lounges that we talk to constantly, put us up on the screen tonight. Let us know that you're watching. Take some pictures, send it to us. Show us what you're smoking while you're watching as well. Let's hit the chats really quickly. First one in the chats, get your ends up. He's always in here. He says, awesome. Money Matt, that's one of LeeMack's on here. He says, hello, everyone. Carnell says, what's happening, family?
What's up?
LeeMack, Iowa crew. Iowa boy. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. You got some people talking in there. Me telling everybody what's up. Watching from the cornfields of Iowa. Awesome. Get your ends up says, I got bumped. Okay. In Connecticut, he says. Okay. Cigar Frank is on here. He says, evening, everyone. Ready for the guest, LeeMack912. Woohoo. We are too. We'll get him right in just a second. Great collaboration. This is when we first started, I told Mick there are 4 people that I want to get on here and that I need to get on here. And LeeMack was one of the 4, and LeeMack never hesitated to say yes. So I'm greatly appreciating on that one. Cigars with Angel. He's on here as always. He says, what's up? Pedro's on here. We're smoking one of your cigars tonight, Pedro. And look, as we got the Haze gray hat on tonight. Hologram's on here. He says, hello, everyone. LeeMack says hi to everyone. How's it going from Haze Gray? Everybody's talking in the chat. Let's see anything else. Carnell's eating some dinner. Then I'll see what he's lighting up. All right, Carnell, let us know what you decide to light up, and hell, for the love of it, let us know what you're eating, because I mean, I would like to be eating dinner too. So yeah. Let us know. All right, so we are caught up in the chats. We got quite a few people watching. Let's get our banner rolling, guys. We do have 2 gifts going tonight. We are going to be giving away 2 $25 gift cards to the Cigar Vault in Oakdale. The only thing you have to do to enter to win that one is go into the comments and type in hashtag RealSmoke for your chance to win. You can do that on Facebook, Rumble, or YouTube. So go do that. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff as well. All of our prizes that we got from last week will go out by the end of this week, if not first of next week. And that way we are caught up in our 2-week cycle. So we do need to introduce the cigar that we are smoking tonight. And that cigar is going to be brought to you by one of our newest people. Go ahead and tell them who it is.
Tonight's cigar is brought to you by Smoke Inn. Join the Smoke Inn Cigar of the Month Club and get 5 premium cigars delivered to your door each month. Discover hidden gems, classic favorites, and exclusive blends selected just for you. Use the code RSNEW now to claim a free Smoke Inn torch lighter and perfect cutter.
And tonight's cigar.
Tonight's cigar is the Haze Gray Cigars Brotherhood. The wrapper is Brazilian Maduro. Binder, Dominican. Filler, Dominican, Liegro, Honduran, Liegro, and Nicaraguan Liegro. Price is around $11.69. Cigar of the Month Club. Again, it's brought to you by the... I can't talk tonight. Brought to you again by the Smoke Inn Cigar of the Month Club.
You sound so excited. And you got 99% of all the words good. So I'm proud of you.
Yep, here we go.
You're getting better. You're getting better. So, anyways, before we bring on our we seem to be doing a lot of people on here. or a lot of different reads on here. But we do have our guest coming on. It is Mr. LeeMack himself. And before we do that one, we do need to say hi one more time to our family over at Destination Cigars, because they are the sponsor of our guest. So step into the world of cigars like never before at Destination Cigar Lounge, home of the exclusive Allegory Cigar Blend. Whether you're kicking back at Governor's Crossing in Sevierville, Tennessee, or savoring the vibes at New River in Beckley, West Virginia, or soaking up the rich aroma at Almost Havana and Hurricane, West Virginia, every visit is an adventure. From top-tier cigars to expert recommendations and a laid-back atmosphere, it's the perfect place to relax, connect, and enjoy the craft. If you are looking for bold, unforgettable flavors, escape to the world of Allegory Cigars. Kick back with the Rick's Mexican San Andreas Dividend, enjoy the smooth intrigue of the censored Sumatra, or fire up a bold and flavorful Escape Habano. For more information, you can follow them on Instagram at destination_cigars, where you can explore more by visiting them online at destinationcigarlounge.com, or take a journey to one of their 3 locations in West Virginia or Tennessee. No matter where your cigar journey takes you, every blend is an experience worth savoring. Where the road ends, the perfect smoke begins at Destination Cigars. So let's go ahead and bring on the guest of, I guess I would say the hour, but we know how that goes. Let's talk to Mr. LeeMack. What's up, brother?
What's up?
Make sure you turn that mic on. You're on mute. Oh no, he's not hearing us. You're on mute.
Oh, is he on a call?
That's all right. Now I'm unmuted.
There we go. So let's try this one more time. Bring it to the stage is the one, the only.
Good afternoon, family. Good afternoon to everybody. I was in the background listening to y'all, and y'all was just a little low, man. The energy was low. I'm gonna need y'all to pick that up because today is another great day. I'm having another great day in spite of everything. And we got some great folks out there in the chat. Some of my A1 Day Ones and Money Matt, who's my latest and biggest fan. What's going on, y'all?
That is
What's
awesome.
up? I love the energy. That's what we need on here. Awesome.
We do.
And you do have a lot of people in the chat talking about you. We got Cigars Unbanded, Tell the Truth About the South, Rob Cigar Czar, Josephus, who has now started jumping into one of yours. So Josephus is hilarious. So what's going on tonight?
I am chilling. You know, they always say you're not supposed to get high on your own supply, but I'm smoking my own cigar tonight. The Midnight Mile by LeeMack912, now available at Privada Cigar Club. All right, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Now, I will say this. A couple of days ago, I was going through, I have like a coolador, like an igloo cooler that I age certain cigars in, but it was something that became an overflow. Because I had a coolador that had tore up and wasn't working anymore, wasn't holding. So I opened that one up because I wanted to put another one of the Crown Heads cigar in there. I wanted to put the last Los Calaveras in there. So I opened it up, and right on top was your original cigar 5-pack that I forgot that I had.
The OG.
It's never been, yeah.
Hey, listen, those are going for good money on the secondary market, boy. Let me tell you.
I know. I forgot that I even had it. It's still just like it came in the mail. So I looked at that thing and was like, okay, I'm gonna have to break that out this weekend.
Yeah, you got to. And you know what you have in there as well? You haven't busted it open. You got the limited edition autograph stickers in there. So, you know.
There we go.
Yeah, that was number 151 right there. I didn't get number 1. Imagine that.
How did that happen?
That's crazy. That should have happened.
Yeah. So
Man,
how you guys doing tonight? Everybody all right? Y'all all right over there?
Doing good, man. It's a little hot out tonight, but we are totally honored to have you on here, man. We're both big fans. I know this is one of Charles's dream shows, so I'm going to let him lead most of the path we go on tonight. But man, I'm excited to have you too, man. I've enjoyed so much of your time, brother.
Yeah, all right, so let's just clear it up, right? Charles said, I'm excited. We got to have LeeMack. And Mick said, who? I'm just teasing, Mick.
That's crazy. I did know who you were. I didn't dig into your material maybe as much as Charles. But that's crazy.
I will say that when COVID first started and we were all like chained down to being homebound, that's when I started getting into the CigarTube, and that's when a lot of shows started bouncing up, and I got into 2 channels. I got into Cigars Daily, absolutely love watching them, and found LeeMack and started watching him, and that's still the 2. I mean, there's quite a few that I still watch. I've got a rotation of about 6, Cigars Unbanded being one of them, but there's about 6 of them that's in my rotation, and I love watching his reviews because the saddest day, and we'll get into this later when we go into this part of it, but to me, the saddest day was when I opened up his my YouTube and it said I quit. And it was like, no, this will never happen. So we can go into that one later. But my favorite thing was, it's kind of the way we preface this show. Anybody can look online and talk about wrapper, binder, filler the whole time. LeeMack is like going to church. I mean, he's got a sermon that he pulls out his ass every time. And I don't know if he preps this or if he's just going with it, but it's like going to church. You're sitting there and you listen to a sermon and you feel good about yourself when it's over. And that's what drew me to that.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. None of it's prepped. It's all right off of the top of the dome. And I always like to say this. The message is not always from me. The message comes through me for somebody that needs to hear the message. And the thing that's so, I want to say the divine intervention, the thing that's so weird about it is that people will watch a video that might be years old on a day that they're having a day. And they go, man, I feel like you was talking to me and that was just for me that day. And that was it. So, that's it. And it didn't start out that way. I started out just doing like everybody else, wrapper, binder, filler, blah, blah, blah. So then I started just talking because, you start getting older and old people have lots of stories. I just started talking and I really just did the stories just to be able to practice my editing. I wanted to be able to cut stuff out and just kind of edit it together. But what I found was people started watching the video for the rest of the stuff, not just always the cigar. So,
that was me.
I did a short version. I did like a 5-minute version of the video, and then there was the 25-minute version. And then people would come on and watch the 5-minute version and then say it wasn't long enough because I still got cigar left. So then they had to go back and watch the 25-minute version. So it is what it is.
See, I do most of my listening because I do a lot of driving. So I do a lot of my listening through earbuds. Yep. And a 5-minute version doesn't get me anywhere. I have to pull over side of the road and find something else to listen to. But when you've got a 25, 35-minute going on there, I'm almost to my destination half the time.
And that's a good thing. It's like, shout out to all my truck driving buddies. It's like sometimes you need somebody to help get you down the road. So if you can get me down the road a half hour, an hour, a couple hours at a time, that's a good thing. And I understand what you're saying because I do a lot of listening too, even to the people that I watch. I do more listening than I do watching.
Well, we have a couple on here. I like what Josephus said. He said LeeMack is simply a mouthpiece for the Almighty.
There you go.
I like that.
I can't take no credit at all, none at all, because I am not the perfect Christian. I don't have all the answers. Hey, look, don't ask me what you should do because I probably done made some of the same mistakes that y'all have made. I probably will continue to make those same mistakes. I always say if I make it to heaven, I got a lot of questions to ask because there's a whole lot of stuff I don't understand. So I'm not one of those religious people that says, oh, I understand it all. And you got to figure it because some stuff doesn't make sense to me either. So, if you're going to be honest about it, you'll say, I see what it says and I understand what you're telling me, but it don't all make sense. It doesn't.
Man, I love what you just said there. I grew up in we're not going to go down this path early, but I grew up in a very religious household, and I have more questions the older I get than I have answers. And I still have my basic beliefs, but I still want to live my life in the meantime. And my parents sometimes don't get that because they're old school and whatever. But it's every day, I think, is something you have to learn from, you know, and it's something you have to try to make yourself better and move forward.
You do, and we don't all learn at the same rate or at the same time. Sometimes you got to go through experiences to be able to understand something. That's just like I'll tell stories about my grandmother, right? My grandmother would tell us stories, and she would always have something to say, you know. And my sister, I was talking to her tonight, and I said I owed her some money. I said, well, I don't want to forget to pay you. She said, that's all right. She said, as long as you owe me, I'll never be broke. And that was something that my grandmother said. And, you know, as a kid, I heard that a lot. But as an older person, it makes sense to me, you know.
So we have Sydney's on here. It says, same for me. I found him and CD around 2016. I first started cigars. Been down ever since. LeeMack912 has learned me a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, shout out to Sid. That's my nephew, Sid. What's going on, Sid? He usually joins us from the back of the church on Sunday because he's working, but he always checks in. I tell him to make sure he sees the usher before he leaves out the back door, but somehow he gets out before the usher can catch him. What's up, Sid?
Yeah, I try to jump on under the podcast channel on YouTube and watch and harass you guys every once in a while. So
yeah,
sometimes it's a conversation that I can play around with, and sometimes I'm just listening and learning, and that's what I love too. So,
you know, it's something. I'm sorry, Charles. I'm gonna
go ahead. I was just saying we've got a lot going on in the chat, so guys, keep it going. If you got questions, put them in there.
No, I just want to jump in for one more time. I like to bring this up as much as possible because one of the things I and Charles were both most proud of. We did the Men's Mental Health Month about the episode about, I don't know, 6 months ago. And we've had a few people reach out now and say that episode touched them personally, and it really got them thinking about where they're at. Like we only did that. We said if we the day we taped that show, we said if we reached one person. But the cool thing is, just like you said, Lee, is if it's going to live forever on YouTube, hopefully. Yeah. And if it touches another person 5 years from now, that's the coolest thing. Like, it's not about us. It's about men talking and really finding themselves and finding that path forward, you know. And it's something that we're super proud of. And that, like you said, man, hopefully it lives forever and it just keeps touching people as it goes.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you know, I remember when Charles called me before you guys started the podcast, and he said, we're thinking about doing this thing or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, listen, brother, call me. We have a conversation. I'll give you some points, tips, tricks. I ain't going to tell you what to do, but you go on and do what you do. And I'm kind of proud of what y'all have done. You are obviously working very hard. When I see all of those episodes that you have out there and all of the people that you've reached out to have on the show, I know it's not easy. And but you guys come on and you do it every week, and to be consistent doing the show every week is not easy. So I say continue doing the work that you're doing. And you know, if you build it, they will come. And those that come are the ones that are there for you. Those that don't come are not the ones that were supposed to watch your show. It's all good.
So really quickly, we have someone special in the chats right now. Got the notification y'all were live on Facebook. Happy to finally watch the podcast. # Hey Dad. This is Shay Lynn, Mr. Mix, one of his daughters. What's up, girl?
Up, kid? You've cost me a lot of money this week, but I still love you, Shay.
How old is your baby, Mick?
My baby is 22.
22. Nice. My baby girl is 32. So, you know, okay. It's always cool when your kids are interested in what it is that you do. And even if they want to watch or whatever. When I put out a new cigar, I always have to send them to my daughter and her friend and say, hey, listen, here's the new cigar. All right, Dad, we're gonna be smoking these and we'll let you know. Okay. Yeah. Drives your mother crazy, but you know, what can I tell you?
Absolutely. Both my daughters, we vibe so well the older they get, and it's amazing. They're two completely different creatures, my oldest and my youngest, but they we love them to death, and they make us proud. It's like I said, she cost me a lot of money this week, but she'll make it up to me. I know she will.
That's all right. That's all right. I tell my girl, I say, listen, you are my greatest creation. I couldn't have done no better.
That's right. That's right.
Well, my two oldest, I have a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old. They could care less about the hobby. I have a younger one, not given her age, just because YouTube doesn't like that. But she's a little younger, and she has the palate like her mama does. She can sniff a cigar and she will tell you the things that she smells. She can sniff some bourbon and she will pick up notes. She wants to be the one that picks the stuff out. And I remember her teacher looking at me saying, the day she turns of age, the first thing that she's going to ask is if she can sit down, have a cigar, and a pour of whiskey. I said, I'm just waiting on it.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. I've got, you talk about those OG cigars. I got 2 5-packs, one for my granddaughter and one for my grandson. And same thing. When they turn 18, I got something for you. We're gonna have a smoke. Now, my grandson, who is the oldest, probably will not be interested at all. My granddaughter, on the other hand, is probably the one who will be out here.
It's my daughter
smoking a cigar with me because I mean, there are days, and I've had her on some of my older videos, and she shows up, and she's not there because I'm saying bring the minor in. She's there because I can't get rid of her. I'm like, listen, go in the house and smoking this way. Nope, I want to sit right here with you. So you gotta love that. Listen, kids are a blessing. They are a pain in the butt at times. They cost you a lot of money. They give you a lot of heartache. They give you all kinds of stuff, right? But I'm going to tell you this, right? The day comes, and the day will come, especially if you have boys, right? Because you know how we are. We're knuckleheads, right? We think we know everything. We don't know nothing, right? But the day comes. So my son went through all kinds of stuff, or whatever. I won't tell that long story or whatever. But he got to a point where he was married. He had a stepchild. He was my stepchild, but he was still my son or whatever. So then he calls me up and he says, listen, I just want to apologize to you because I now realize that everything you were telling me when I was a kid was not to be mean, but just you was trying to teach me how to be a man. And 100%. Man, well, you want to talk about a tear falling out of my eye? I cried on that one. It was like, man, so you can't give up on kids, no matter how knuckleheady they seem to be. You gotta stick with your babies because they are your kids,
So I'll let you say his name like you do always on your show, but I believe this is Mr. Matt Bailey.
Yeah, Big Matt Bailey.
He says, "You ain't got a pack for me, Dad." And then after waiting, he said, "I guess I ain't blessed."
No,
listen, Matt is enjoying his new retired life, and he don't quite know what to do with himself yet. So every morning I get a picture from Matt that looks something like this. Good morning, brothers.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, even if it's not everywhere else.
That is awesome. I will follow up real quick before we move on, and I was kind of joking about the money thing. I'm always here for my kids. And you said it perfectly, man. Like, it is that blessing that you can't repay. And I believe the kids are starting to realize that I wasn't always quite as much of an asshole as they thought I was. I was just trying to make them better than I was at that point. You know what I mean? And that's all we strive for. So I love both my kids more than I can say for sure.
I will say that I made a mistake, Mick. With the rush of tonight and the last week, my notes did leave off something. And when you started talking about your girl, I forgot that I was supposed to make a shout out because it might be the only episode that she watches, just because I told her I would make a shout out. Okay. The 23-year-old, a year and a half ago, got her bachelor's degree in special education. Less than a year later, with all the other classes that she took, she graduated this May with a master's degree in special education from the University of Tennessee. A month later, she was offered her own classroom. Instead of just going in and being an assistant, they gave her her own classroom. Today was her first day. She is now one of the schools in the county. She is their new special education teacher and the head teacher for that classroom. So congratulations, sweetheart. I am so proud of you. Told you I'd give you a shout out. There's your shit.
Yeah,
out.
congratulations.
Good job,
We're all
bro.
proud of that. It's good when the kids are doing something and they have a job making some money and doing something that they like, which is cool. You know, you got to let the kids grow up and do what they do. My daughter's an athletic trainer. The other one's a nurse. My wife is works in the medical field. I said, I'm glad y'all are doing it because that ain't for me, but that's what they wanted to do, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm a teacher as well, not a school teacher, but I'm a teacher as well. And she is 23 years old with a master's degree, living on her own, making her own money, and now a brand new first year teacher in a school system. So I can't be more proud than that one. So really quick, guys, before we jump into going into the episode, which hell, this has already been a great one as it is. Make sure you do us a favor if you're interested in winning one of two $25 gift cards of Beard Apothecary, or not Beard Apothecary. God, I do that every week. From Cigar Vault Oakdale. Type in the hashtag RealSmoke on YouTube, Rumble, or Facebook. Also, do us a favor, hit the like, do the subscribe. Again, we're just a few away from hitting our next goal, which is a small number. We're just trying to get to 300 in the first year. And we celebrate that year in 4 weeks. 4 weeks from this week.
4 weeks.
Yeah. We are.
Is that 300 on your channel?
Yeah. That's 300 on YouTube. We are 100 or so away from 5,000 on Instagram. Yeah, for the second time.
Nice,
we were
nice.
We were at 5,000 before, and Matt Booth got us cut out, so they kicked us off Instagram.
Yeah.
So we had to start all over.
You know how Matt Booth is, so but we don't got to talk about that. Matt's my man, though. But all of my family members, listen, if y'all are on here watching, subscribe, like, and share. Go over and check out the fellas on Instagram. Subscribe to them. Help them get up to the numbers that they're trying to get to. I would appreciate it because I know what it felt like when I got to 100. I was excited. I got 100 subscribers. That is exciting.
That was Mick.
And after that, every number was just as exciting. And, you know, so it's fun. It's harder now. You guys started on YouTube, harder than it used to be. You know, YouTube used to, you know, fairly push our content. Now I think they unfairly don't push it or push it down to the bottom, and they do. There's a lot of dirty tricks going on, and you know some folks will say that there's no dirty tricks. Just put out good content, and you'll be able to do what you do. But that ain't true. That ain't true. It is. I've been around long enough. I've seen the purge. The apocalypse that happened to all of the cigar reviewers. I was there. I lived through it. The channel is still there. So, you know, it is what it is. Got to give a special shout out to my moderators on there, Latanya H. She says, hey, everybody. A lot of what I do, she is impetus in the background. She is there, and I appreciate everything that she does because a lot of what I do wouldn't be done if it wasn't because of her. So I appreciate you, Latanya. Appreciate you tuning in there. And Mahalalil, another one of my nephews. Shout out to Mahalalil. He is a funny guy. I love Mahalalil. He was in the car wash the other day on Instagram.
Wait, hang on. Back up to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Is that MJ? Is that MJ? Is that MJ? That's MJ. On Instagram. That's got to be MJ.
I'm a Mahalalil. Put on there what your Instagram name is.
It's MJ. It's got to be.
I will say this. Money Matt says YouTube subscribed, number 291, 9 away from the goal. Thanks, Money Matt.
9 away. All right.
9 away. Also, really quickly, go check out Cigar Vault. Go type in the search tag in their search engine, Real Smoke. There's a 5-pack on there. Type in the code Real Smoke, save a whole bunch. We have 10 of our 5-packs available. Our goal is to get rid of 5 of them tonight. Go check it out. I cannot. Okay. How can you say this and not say anything else, Mick?
Yeah. What do you mean? So
his name.
MJ. All right,
so you said MJ. So pronounce what you see on here.
Mahalalil. That's not his fucking name though. That's I don't know. Anyway, it might be his name. If it is, I'm sorry, dude, because I've always known you as MJ. Thank you. So when back in back in the days of Real Minutes, him and Mr. Ray would get on all the time, and we would laugh and laugh. Them two would go at it forever, and it was great. And I still stay in touch with MJ. We traded some stickers back in the day. I believe he's in the Wisconsin area, up in that cold part of town. But MJ's great people, man. Yeah, I don't know what that name is, if that's his YouTube name or what, but I'm not trying to say it again. I know that.
Mahalo.
He says that's his Hebrew name.
He said that's his Hebrew name, but that's his name in the hood. See, you know that Mick is not from the hood. You know, he can't even look at it and go Mahalalel Yahawada. You know, it's very simple. It's just like it said there.
Sure is very simple. Got it.
Mahalalel Yahwahada. Close enough. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into everything. I mean, we have already gone 40 minutes into this one, and it's already a great episode. But as we like to do, we like to go back a little bit, get to know the person, and we always say that because we're getting to know the person behind, a cigar brand. But there's a lot of cigar brands that we have interviewed that haven't even been smoking cigars as long as you've been reviewing cigars. I'm just saying, and that's not saying you're old or anything. I'm just saying. We're used. We go into one of our things is we like to talk to a lot of brand new brands. We don't get a lot of history into that one. So let's jump back a little bit. So where did LeeMack grow up? What was LeeMack as a child? What was home life like? Tell us some. Let's get into talking about LeeMack as the younger LeeMack.
Oh, the LeeMack that was growing, I was a nerd. I was always smart. Hung out with the hoodlums in my neighborhood, but I was the smart guy in the neighborhood. I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey. The kids now gave it a new name called Eastwick. I'm like, it's not Eastwick, it's Elizabeth. That's where I'm from. But small blue collar neighborhood, little small house. My mom still lives in it. We had 2 bedrooms in the house, myself and my sister and my parents. I shared the room with my sister until I got too old. Then I moved into the basement. That was my domain, the basement. So that was pretty cool. I like that. My dad was a truck driver, and my mom was a social worker for the Board of Education in Newark, New Jersey. So it was what I considered normal because it was normal for all of my friends. Their mother and the father lived in the house. So we all grew up with mothers and fathers, right? Now, that ain't saying that we all had the best fathers. I ain't going to say I had the best father, but we all had mothers and fathers. And, a lot of those people still live on that street. Some of the older folks have died off. My mom is still there. She's 85 years old. God bless her. And still lives by herself. And she's, doing relatively well. So that was me. Went to Catholic school for 9 years, kindergarten through 8th grade. Did all of the Stations of the Cross and all of that stuff.
So what was Catholic like? I went to a private Baptist school from the age of 3 to 5th grade.
How did I not know that? I went to a private Baptist school from the time I was in kindergarten through 5th grade. Sorry, we'll get to that later, but that's weird because that's sorry.
So for your experience, because I was the troublemaker. My preacher was my principal, was the guy that put the Board of Education across my backside on a weekly.
Hello.
Yeah.
So back in those days,
he was the guy that was saying, touch my desk, and he prayed. And every time he would say amen, it was swack.
It's all starting to make sense now, Charles. I'm sorry. I'm getting off track, but that we need to talk later. All right. So sorry, go ahead.
Tell me about life in the Catholic school.
So life in the Catholic school actually was good. There was, so it starts back before Catholic school, pre-kindergarten, Miss White. I still remember her. So we had corporal punishment back then, and she had a ruler, and she had no qualms about swatting you with that damn ruler, right, if you acted up. Same thing going through Catholic school. We had, they were pretty strict. We always had a lot of homework. We always had a lot of work to do. We had to go to mass. We did all of the different things that we did in the Catholic school. But it was a family and it was a community. It was small. I had a small class, and I had fun in Catholic school. But by the time I got to 8th grade, my mom gave me the choice: do you want to go to Catholic high school or the public high school? And I'm like, man, all of my hoodlum friends is in the public high school. That's where I want to go. So it was good. It was a good experience. We played basketball. We, did all kinds of stupid shit that we did in Catholic school, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
So I will say that mine was not. I was starting out. The school opened up. They had like a nursery in the morning. So when I was 3 and 4, it was great. I mean, I don't remember it, but my parents had to drop me off between 5:30 and 6 in the morning. I would go through school or daycare, and then they would get off work at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's when I would get picked up. I was there for 12, 13, sometimes 14 hours. So it was good when I was little. So I think. But when you're in 5th grade and you're the only person who's not 5 years old, there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and there at 7 o'clock in the evening, it sucked. But the fondest memory I have, and I say fondest with some sarcasm, I'm a left-handed person. So I used to write left-handed. And the lady would come around and smack the crap out of my hand with a ruler and tell me writing left-handed was a sin. I need to learn, or left-handed was a sin. I need to learn to write right-handed. So I learned to write right-handed. I wasn't as good with it. So I figured out that I could write left-handed, and when she would come around, I'd write right-handed. Well, one day I was writing right-handed. She came by and swacked the hell out of my hand again. And she said, here, that's for lying to me. That's for doing what I told you not to do. Now go to the principal for lying to me. I got my swacks on the butt and come back up there. And she said, I realize that you're writing both hands because at one time your letters are slanted this way and then they're slanted that way. She should not have told me that because now I learned to turn my paper this way. And when she came around, I turned it this way. So the last year, yeah, I played that game. So the last year I was there, the only reason I left the school, my parents, I grew up to 5th grade in private school. So in downtown Chattanooga was an old DuPont Elementary. It was named after the DuPont chemical plant that was next door to it. That was some good atmosphere. But I walked into that thing and that was a culture shock because it was, the teachers the teachers loved you at the private school. They were mean, but they took care of you. Nobody gave a damn about you in this other school.
Yep.
They were just there. But the reason we left was this school had K3. So in other words, kindergarten for 3-year-olds all the way to first year in college, freshman in college in one building. And we left because we ended with 13 people in the entire school and they couldn't afford it.
Yep. That's the same thing that happened in my school. They ended up closing it down. They didn't have enough people.
Where I was the one that was there till 7 o'clock every evening, I was literally the last kid that walked out of that building. And so I went by there and looked at it a couple of years ago, and the building's still there. It's a Jewish educational system now, but it's still there.
See, for us, and I always tell these stories, you can't do this now, but I was 5 years old going to kindergarten. My mom had to go to work. My dad was on the road. So my mom would take my sister to my grandmother's house, which was about 4 or 5 blocks away. And then I had to walk to school. So they say you walk to school. We lived off of a major highway. So I would walk up, go down there, go down to the school. And then after school, we didn't have an after school program. Then I walked to my grandmother's house. So we had a crossing guard, cross the highway, walk down a block, over 2 blocks, up half a block. Then I was at my grandmother's house, The next year, my cousin was in school, so there was 2 of us. And then my sister came the next year, so then the 3 of us would walk together to my grandmother's. So that's something that, you'd be afraid to have your kids walk on the street by themselves these days. But we did it. But our neighborhood was a neighborhood, and it was a neighborhood of parents. And so that's why these kids, a lot of kids today are very disrespectful. Even the teenagers, when I was a little kid, if you were doing something, the teenagers would say, hey, y'all get out from in front of Miss Johnson's house with all that noise. And if she came out the house or whatever, somebody go over there and get her groceries and help her carry her stuff in the house. That was the older guys who were up to no good, but they had respect for the elders in the neighborhood. So if we did something, literally you could get in trouble around the corner. And before you got home, my parents knew what was going on. My best buddy, Abby, who lived up the street, his mother was good for lining us all up. We all used to like going to her house because it was fun. They had a lot of kids. We played. Everybody went there. Something would happen. She'd line everybody up from the smallest to the tallest. That's the way she used to say it. Send somebody in the yard to get a switch, and she'd give everybody in that line a couple of whacks. And then
you better not come back with a small one either.
No, you better not.
Yeah,
you better
you
not.
come back with the small one, your ass is in trouble.
Yes, sir.
See, the kids we ran around with in the neighborhood, we were like the kids that, you know, we had to be in by daylight, or by the time the lights came on.
Street lights. Yes, sir.
Yeah, street lights. But my dad was known for a whistle. He could do that one finger in the side of his mouth, and he had a whistle that you could hear for a mile. So when it was time to come in, all the kids in the neighborhood knew as soon as they heard my dad whistle, we would be in the middle of riding bikes, playing a game. And as soon as my dad whistled, it was like ants scattering everywhere. And I remember, just, hanging out with some kids getting in some trouble in the neighborhood, and we got into some trouble. And so we were hanging out, and we went to little Johnny's house. Little Johnny's mom already knew what happened. We got our asses busted, all of us at little Johnny's house. And we went to little Timmy's house. We did it again. We realized we're not going to anybody else's house, because if we go to the third buddy's house, we're getting in trouble again. I walk into my house, and the whole, everybody's mama's done called my daddy. And as soon as I walk in, he's just standing there with his arms crossed. And it's like, so the fourth one? Cool. So yeah, and at the time we thought that was the worst thing in the world, but honestly, I would love to go back to those days. I mean,
listen, I think
the world was better.
Turned out all right, is what I say.
Yeah, I won't go too deep into any of my stories, but Charles, I was in CBA, Calvary Baptist Academy in Mifflinburg, Pennsylvania, and I thought it would be hilarious to moon some girls in second grade. And I got the worst ass whooping I ever got in my life at school. And then I got the worst ass whooping I ever got in my life at home. It was a really, but it's something that sticks with you, man. And it's something that I was like, yeah, kind of fudged up that situation. I could recall that situation in second grade as if it happened yesterday. Like, I will never forget that minute that I screwed up and decided to moon some girls. It was really bad.
The worst one I ever got in private school was we had to go up, and we were all telling about what our parents did. And this is when the daycare teacher was like after school trying to keep us all wrangled up. So she's got all these kids from fifth grade to kindergarten in one room, and she's trying to do something with us. And she's having everybody come up and talk about what their daddy and their mommy does. So my dad worked for CSX Railroad. He was the person. His company took everything out of the rail cars, put them into trucks. I took them out of trucks, put them into rail cars. So he was that. So I said, okay, I'm going to go draw what my daddy does on the board. CSX Railroad, drew a train. And I did not put CSX. I put SEX. I did it on purpose. Oh, that did not go over well. So that was my big one. So anyways, going from private school to public school, you said you played a little ball and stuff like that. What was the stuff that you was into when you was going through high school and middle school?
So in high school, I ran track. I'm never a very athletic person. I did make the basketball team in 8th grade. Thought I would make the high school team. Forget about it. We had people that came from all parts of the city. We had some great athletes that came out of Elizabeth High School. Football, basketball, track. In fact, one of my classmates is now the head coach. Todd Bowles is big time NFL coach, So I was in school, I was in class with his brother. Todd was older than us or whatever, but we all knew Todd and the guys on the football team. And that type of thing. In high school is when I got into music in 9th grade. My father played piano. He played in church, played by ear, played with a lot of gospel groups back in the day with in Newark. He was back with Sissy Houston and James Cleveland, and like a lot of the big gospel stars, were around. And we just kind of knew these people. They were just people we saw at the church, and he played with the different groups or whatever. But he never taught me how to play. He never taught me anything. I thought I was going to be a guitarist. Shout out to your hologram. I see you, baby. So I thought I was going to play guitar. I sucked at guitar. I still suck at guitar. But in high school, I learned how to play the piano. Had a great teacher, Mr. Houston. I had a girlfriend in Deborah was in 10th or 11th grade. I forget. But she was a great classical player, but she also played gospel. So there was a lot of music in high school. I played in a couple of bands. Shout out to my brother Alton. He was a big, great funk guitarist, and Craig, and just we were always into music. So we spent a lot of time taking the train, going over to New York City, going over to the music stores and playing and looking at it, all the new equipment we couldn't afford. But music was a big part of high school. So I learned a lot. I thought I was going to maybe get a music scholarship. So I went through all these classical lessons and I learned a lot in a few years, right? But that was a big part of my high school was music. I ran track. I was on the track team. I sucked. I ran hurdles maybe one practice, and the coach said, maybe you better go to something else because this ain't for you, But high school was great too. I had a good time in high school. We had a great time. High school was different for us. In 9th grade, we were like the dapper dandies, We go to school with a tie, sometimes a 3-piece suit, whatever. That was just the look that we had, and it was a lot of fun.
So about that time when you were doing music, as somebody who, growing up in church, I sung in church. I was in choir. I was in school, in the private school. I was in choir. Was you singing in church? Was you doing that stuff, or was you just trying to play music? Or
I was trying to play music. At one point, the minister's wife, she played the organ. So she let me play the piano along with her. I think she was getting paid $20 a week, and she would split it with me. I got $10 a week to play in church or whatever. So that was it. I wasn't really good at that point, playing in church, but I did what I did, that was
what type of church was you involved in?
Well, and that's the interesting thing, right? So I went to Catholic school, so we had
right.
Catholic church. My parents were Baptist, so we went to Baptist church. Well, my mother went to a Baptist church. My father went to it was another Baptist church, and my grandmother was AME, African
right.
Methodist Episcopal.
Right.
So I went to all of those churches, and then we went around the corner to in the summer they would have what they call that. Bible school,
Vacation Bible School.
Vacation Bible School. That's it. We went.
That's what's going on right now here.
School. Yeah, we went there at the Presbyterian church. So I had a lot of different religious experiences growing up, and I took something out of all of them. We had some great priests over at the Presbyterian church. I remember we had a guy who played the piano. His name was Alex. And Alex was cool because he would play on the piano like Jackson 5 songs and other stuff. And we were like, oh, man, he knows cool stuff,
So growing up, my dad's family was my dad's family came over from Ireland, went to Virginia, into Detroit, and into Tennessee. My dad's family was all Pentecostal. My mom's family,
I did some of that too,
yeah. My mom's family was Eastern Europe, England, Germany. So they came over here. They were Presbyterian. There was neither one of those that was really big, so they put me into Baptist. So if I go to like a lot of my family on my dad's side, they're all Pentecostal.
Right.
My mom's family, so it was interesting learning the way you act in different churches.
Oh yeah. One
Yeah,
is very
'cause
quiet.
none of them are the
Catholic,
same.
very quiet. Pentecostal, why are you so damn quiet?
Yeah. If you're not on your feet singing, your hands in the air, you're praising, if you're not doing that, there's something wrong with you. But if you're Baptist and you stand up and praise, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. But it's different though, right? Because I actually played once for a Southern Baptist church, and Southern Baptist is different than the Baptist that we had up north.
First Baptist.
So they were a little more enthusiastic, a little more charismatic or whatever. But I said earlier, I said if I ever make it to heaven, I got a lot of questions, right? So here's one of my questions, right? I know in the Bible somewhere it says if there's people speaking in tongues, there's someone in the crowd that's interpreting, right? I have not in my 60 years seen anybody doing that interpretation. I want to know what the hell is up with that. It's like you go to certain places and it's like I feel like they're just you all went to the same school of tongues or whatever. There's one of my guys who said, he always does this thing. He jokes about speaking in tongues, and it says something like this. I bought a Kia, but I should have bought a Hyundai, So when so that's my interpretation of speaking in tongues. Yeah, and you can mix it up. I bought a Hyundai, but I should have bought a Kia.
Yeah, I will tell you, I could use that interpreter sometimes living in Memphis because I have no idea sometimes what people are saying to me. I mean, it's crazy at times. I don't know.
Yeah,
we could all use that interpreter at times in church, Joe. I agree because it would clear up some confusion for all of us.
Right. It's good for you, but it ain't doing nothing for me. So I don't get it, but it's all good.
So after high school, where did you go next? What
So
was our
after high
next
school-
adventure?
After high school, I went to college. Decided I was going to be an engineer. Like a lot of my trucking students, engineers made a lot of money. As a kid, we were always taking stuff apart and putting it back together. So when I looked up, well, what kind of person is that? That is an engineer. You learn how to design stuff, take stuff apart, put it back together. I mean, we would literally take bicycles apart and mini bikes, and we build stuff and put lawnmower engines on mini bikes and try to turn it sideways and all this other crap, right? So I went to Rutgers University. I think by the time I had been there 2.5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 semesters, I probably still didn't have enough credits to be considered a sophomore. I was failing everything. What happened was when they sent out the schedule, they sent it to my grandmother's house, and I didn't get it. And therefore, the dean of students and somebody signed me up for classes. Well, he signed me up for all the hard classes that you usually split: physics and chemistry and calculus. I had them all in one semester. That was a disaster. So basically, I flunked out. I was out. They was like, you got to go. I got the letter. Sorry, you ain't going to make it. You got to get out. Well, I'm not a quitter. And I never liked somebody to tell me that I can't do something that I think I'm going to do. So I went to county college, Middlesex County. Shout out to them. Had some great professors over there. Did great at county college. And then I wrote a letter asking for readmittance. So usually when you get kicked out, that's it. You're done. People never come back. I was the first person at Rutgers University School of Engineering that ever got kicked out and readmitted. So I was readmitted. It took me 7 years to get a 4-year degree. I got my degree in mechanical engineering, so that was pretty cool. And then I went to work for the Navy. Decided after 7 years, I hated engineering. I didn't really want to do that, so I got a job in cost estimating where you could use your engineering skills, but we were doing cost estimating stuff. And while I was there, I got a master's in business. So that was my college career. So college kind of sucked, but it was what it was. I tried to pledge a fraternity. They said your grades suck, you can't do it. I was going to be an alpha man. I did all of the pre-pledging stuff or whatever, and then all my buddies went on to pledge. I never made it, and that was that.
So you said you went into the Navy. How long was you in the Navy?
So I went to the Navy late. I joined the reserves.
Okay.
I was 34 when I joined the Navy. Signed up. I was a storekeeper. SK SK3, I think I was. And I was in the Navy for 11 years. 11 years. Loved the Navy. Had a great time in the Navy. At some point, I decided that the recruiter lied to me. So everybody knows that all recruiters lie. They're just trying to make their numbers or whatever. I could have came in as an officer, but he had a slot for a enlisted person, so I took it. A couple of years later, I did all what needed to do. I had my master's degree, and then I was a lieutenant, supply corps. I came in as an ensign, supply corps. So that's what I did in the Navy, supply corps. So that was great. Shout out to you, Leroy. What's going on, brother? So had a great time at the Navy. Spent a lot of time doing being a Navy of one. I was like one guy going to fill in for somebody. We would go over to southern Spain every year. That was our time. We would always go between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that meant that we always missed Thanksgiving or Christmas. You know, our unit had to go over there and fill in so that the guys who were full-time Navy could take off or whatever. So I worked in the mail room, out on the flight lines. And then when I came back as a lieutenant, I was working supply for different things. And that was always cool. I was like the face man on the A-team. So we did a lot of horse trading with the Army units that were there. And, you know, we had lots of stuff that they needed. They had stuff that we needed. And, you know, it was a good time.
In other words, he strategically acquired anything that the Navy needed.
Strategically acquired. None of that stuff was on the books, and it didn't get on the books. So, you know, one of the big things was MREs. We had a lot of MREs, so we could always trade MREs for something. So
your time in the Navy, what were some of the experiences that you had that, you know, thinking back on it, you think now that, you know, that was either really fun, really cool, really exciting, really loved it. You know, if I could do it again, I would definitely do this thing again. What were some of the things in the Navy that you loved? Absolutely. We did a NATO mission once off the coast of Cape Verde. It was a multinational mission. I was on a Spanish ship, and that was like really, really, really cool. The guy who was the I guess he was the he might have been like the Master Chief in the Spanish Navy, and he was a little short guy. Their Navy didn't have age limits. So this guy must have been about 65 years old. He was old, you know. I'm saying old. He was old. And what I remember about him, he would always, you know, when they would announce the admiral coming into the room, you had to stand at attention or whatever. But he always reminded me of the guy from Purple Rain. You know, when the guy would say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the time," right? So this guy would come in, he would say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the admiral." But that was a cool time because on the Navy ships, no alcohol. On the Spanish ships, lunch and dinner, we had the long table and they would come down and plop bottles of red wine. And we had red wine. So we had a bunch of French pilots on there, the aviators, and they would come in and it would be like, all right, wine, who wants wine? Wine. And you would just drink all the wine you wanted. It was all red, all table wine, dry wine. And that was a good time. It was the first time I was introduced to Slivovich, which we had a guy, Josip. Josip was from Germany. No, he was from Germany. He was a big German dude, right? And his family made that plum. It's a distilled plum brandy. It take the hair off of your chest, man. But that he brought some onto the ship. We had the Slivovich, you know, and it was just cool learning and seeing the different people. Some of the people I was impressed with the most were the women in the Spanish Navy. You know, during the operation, they'd go out and go on the little boats or whatever and go out and do a mission or whatever. Those women were really, 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 really together. And then another time we did a shakedown cruise on a ship. It was a brand new ship or whatever. And that was pretty cool because our captain said, you can't be in the Navy and you've never been on a ship. So we would go out on a ship. So I had the privilege of being in the reserves and having traveled the world, been on ship, you know, lived that ship life or whatever. And it's something that sticks with me today. When I'm on a cruise ship or something, I sleep like a baby because it takes me right back to those days. So what ships were you working on? I was on the CG-53 USS Mobile Bay. It's since been retired. And I don't remember the name of the Spanish ship that I was on.
So they were
Nice.
smaller ships. The Mobile Bay was a guided missile cruiser.
Nice.
And I'm not sure. I think we had a supply ship that was the Navy ship. So on the guided missile cruiser, you had your website officer, and she was all these were young people, right? Very young lady, and she was in charge of the weapons. So you watch them, and they were loading the missiles on the ship or whatever, and all of that. It was a good time. So if I could do that again, I would go do that again. But we also had trips where we went different places. I spent a month in Singapore. Singapore was cool. We had an apartment. I had a maid that was in the apartment. Went over to Malaysia. Then I found out Malaysia was on the no-fly list. We weren't supposed to go to Malaysia. We went over there to buy bootleg DVDs. And the good thing about being in the Navy, that was where I first got introduced to cigars, because going to Spain every year, Cuban cigars were legal. I didn't know nothing about cigars, but I knew we couldn't get these in the States. So therefore, when my sea bag came back, because they never checked our sea bags, we had lots of stuff. My shipmate Dion said Navy life was great. I too sleep like a baby on cruises. Dion knows what it's about. He jumped out of airplanes, but I ain't doing all that.
So 2 quick things. Nights like tonight, I forget that I'm on a podcast, and I'm just sitting here watching and listening and loving it. It's freaking amazing. Second thing, this is another reason we need to get you some Haze Gray cigars, man, because Rue was in the Navy, and it's that whole Haze Gray thing. So we
Haze
need
Gray and underway, baby.
That's right. So we need to get you some. I will personally send you some if you want. Just hit me up later, and I got you. But
I got you.
They're good guys, man. I want your opinion on some of their cigars. And third thing, man.
And hold on, before you finish with that. When I get stuff, I got to get stuff for my moderator too. She'll smack me in the back of my head if she say I don't get none. Where's mine? So
Hey, Rue and Pedro, I know one of you are on here. Hit us up. We'll talk to you about it later. We need to get LeeMack some stuff for him and LaTanya.
Yeah. We can pay you for him, and we'll send him directly to Lee. It's all taken care of. But yeah, no, but we damn it! Now I lost my third thing. I completely lost it.
It'll come back to you.
Oh wait, I did just get it. I just got it. So you just mentioned it. I'm sorry, Charles. It's been one of those nights again. Third thing. So you mentioned cigars. What was your first cigar, and what got you into cigars? Because I'm sure that probably was in your Navy time. So we need to get into that.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Well, actually, Navy was still going on, but it had nothing to do with the Navy. So,
okay.
Famous Smoke, back when they used to have newspapers, they had an ad in the newspaper. It said, cut this out, send us your name and your address, because there was no such thing as email back then, and we'll send you a cigar. So I sent it in. They just wanted your name and your address to add to their mailing list. I sent it in, and they sent me a Acid Cuba Cuba. So I always say that the Acid Cuba Cuba was my first real cigar, and really what started the whole cigar review journey, because I didn't know what to do with the cigar. I didn't know how to store it. I didn't know how to light it, cut it, whatever. So I started watching cigar reviews. And I want to talk about that because I got to give some shouts to the people that came out before me, right? But that was my first cigar. At that time, I was watching Cigar Obsession, Cigar Vixen. Shout out to Puro Maduro. Most people don't know Puro Maduro. He was back in the day. But even going back before that on public access channel, Tia and the people from Cigars. They used to have a cigar show on every Saturday, and it was on television. So Tia's still around. She's on Facebook. I see her. I don't know about the other guys, but they were the ones who were doing cigar reviews, and I was watching them or whatever. And I kind of said, I'm watching these cigars. And you know how we do when we go into a cigar shop and you don't know about cigars. So you read a review or you go to Cigar Aficionado. And you say, give me the one that was the top rated, whatever. So one of my first cigars after that was a Ashton VSG. And I absolutely hated it. It was too strong for somebody like me, new cigar smoker. I hated it. Then I started smoking these other ones on the list, and I'm going, I'm not getting the same thing that they're getting. I don't think it's a great cigar. I said, well, all right. So one thing I didn't say, when I worked for after I worked for the Navy, I went to work for the Army as well. And I got out of engineering altogether. I was a graphics, visual information specialist. I was the head of the visual information department. So I had photographers, videographers, audio guys. They all worked for me. So when they had to set up stuff around the base, those were my people that did that. So being there, I was able to take some classes. I took some Photoshop. I took some, video editing things or whatever. I'm watching these reviews or whatever, and I'm not getting out of the reviews. I said, let me see if I could string together some video clips, make a video, and put it up on this new thing called YouTube. And that was how I started. I mean, and Ak always talks about, yeah, I've been following you since the garage didn't look like this. It was drywall, the spackle, and literally I still have the same chair. It was a lawn chair, old school web lawn chair, a milk crate. I had a top from a spray paint can, and I had my phone propped up on the can. And that was how I did my first review. And I said, let me see if I could do it. Surprise, surprise, people started watching it. And I was surprised,
So we, on our conversation, when you said, hey, call me, which I will say this, we talked about this, when you did the lead in and talked and said that, hey, you said, call me. So I got a message from you, and I just expected like a little Facebook or Instagram message. And you're like, hey man, Instagram's okay to talk to me on. Here's my number. Let's talk. I sent Mick a message and said, talk to LeeMack. He just gave me his number. He said, let's talk. He's like, okay. So I get off the phone with you, and on the phone with you, you're like, hey, we were just talking. And he said, how long have you been watching? I said, my first video of you is sitting hunched over with drywall, unfinished drywall, where you could see the spackle, and your phone trying to look like it was looking at you, and you're trying to get down to where you can see in your phone. Right. And I said, I've been watching you since then. And then a couple of things you just said, you started watching Cigar Vixen. So I said there was a couple of channels that I started watching from day one. Cigar Vixen was one. And then I did not I started watching Cigar Obsession, and that's where I started realizing what YouTube would do to cigar people, because he was one of the first ones that they came after hard.
He was. And
he was some guy who never did anything that was controversial. He sat and talked honestly. He never said anything that would even make you think anything, and they shut his shit down hard.
Yeah, and it's not fair, He's not my favorite cigar reviewer. In fact, he's probably the one that got me to start it, because he never says anything bad about a cigar. He just talks about it, and it's like,
and we had that conversation too.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, bro. Should I buy the cigar? Should I try it? Should I not? He doesn't. But I'm gonna tell you about my favorite cigar reviewer. Right? I gotta hear this. I don't watch a lot of cigar review content. My favorite cigar reviewer is Tim Rollins. I love Tim Rollins. Now, he ain't the most exciting.
Here's your density.
He's not the most exciting.
He was my other one.
But he is consistent. And he's been consistent for a whole lot of years. And I think it's a shame that he doesn't get the views that he should get. Because he's consistent. He does a lot of reviews, and he smokes a lot of cigars, and he's just to me, he's just a real guy, and he's consistent. Now, whether you agree with his review, you get the flavors. He always gets apricot, right? I never get apricot. He always gets that, but I don't hold that against him, and I'll tell anybody that's my favorite cigar reviewer.
I love that when he says, black pepper at a 7. Black pepper, 7, at a 9. It's like he's scoring. It's not like we do some of it, getting black pepper on the retro hell. He lets you know it's blowing my sinuses out. But it's the clear eyes guy of cigar reviews.
Yeah,
it's very subtle.
And the thing is, he is not. You see a lot of guys that are imitating people. I see people imitate me, imitate other people. Right?
You did a whole video on that one.
Tim is Tim. Period. He wear the same muscle shirt until that
with the
shirt
same logo
wears
on
out.
it.
Right. And then he gets another one, and he wears the same shirt. He's in his house. He's got his lounge set up. It's the same thing. It's consistent. So, yeah, shout out to Tim Rollins. I don't care what anybody says. I like Tim.
I love Tim Rollins. He in one of the ones I was telling you that I watched, he's my last one. So that I think that's my 5 that I was watching. And I remember the first video that I remember you seeing going, and for my brother Tim, here's your density. I was rolling because I knew exactly where that was coming from.
Brandon. That's his thing. He the one that got me on that. He loves when I say that. Here's your density. There's your density. And the funny thing is, right, I started saying it because I don't understand it, right? I don't understand it, and it's funny to me, but I love when he does that.
Well, I mean, it gets me looking at the foot of a cigar. And every time I go to smoke a cigar or review a cigar, I at least look at it. I don't say anything about it, but I look at it.
There's your density. I'm getting ready to light up my next cigar. This one is still available over at Privada as well. This is one of my favorites, the Grassini. People don't like Lanceros because they feel like you're not getting what you're supposed to get out of a cigar. It's not, you don't get your money's worth or whatever, right? And I try to tell people, my shout out to my nephew, Ron Real. Ron used to do it, and he would say, he had a saying that said, give me more killer and less filler. More killer, less filler. So with the Lancero, you get more killer because you get that wrapper in there, you're going to taste the wrapper. The filler's not getting in the way. But the thing is with Lanceros, you got to have a good roller. And there's some brands, I'm not going to name the brand because one of them is, I love the brand owner. I love the person. But her Lanceros are so inconsistent when it comes to you can't smoke them, they're plugged, that type of thing. I love Lanceros. My favorite size. What's your favorite size, guys?
You want me to start with this? All right. So I will say I've gotten some great flavor profiles from Lanceros, and I agree. They punch you in the face. They give you good flavor. I just have huge hands, and I feel fucking weird smoking them every time. Because I'm like, I just can't. I don't know. They're too small. Anyway, my favorite size. Good.
It feels feminine in your hands. I got a lot of guys that are big guys. Shout out to Matt Bailey, one of my big brothers. He'll say, my hands, it just don't fit my hand, and it don't look good in my hand.
I agree.
It's like a Virginia Slim.
That's me. Yeah. I agree. So we're pretty close with Cavalier and Brian. I know Charles is even closer than I am with any of them, but Brian has always said that a Lancero is one of his favorites because you get that punch of flavor and you get what it's truly meant to be tasting like. And I can't disagree with that. But at the same time, I can't smoke one of them in public. I can't. It's such a weird.
Come on, Mick, you can do it.
It's so weird to me, but I can't disagree. But I would say, honestly, probably a Toro or a Robusto for me. I know Charles is going to say Corona right now, but I'm gonna let him go.
So I was going to say, what about a Corona? Because a Corona is where they
Corona Gorda.
Everything in a Corona.
I do not mind a Corona. When we smoked that Corona Blackbird last year for the anniversary show, I got way more flavors off of that than I did off of the regular one that we smoked of that same.
And shout out to Jonas. So you mentioned Blackbird.
I love Jonas. Jonas is my brother.
Is like one of my favorite people besides Francisco from DBL. There is something about the Dominican people. I'm gonna let you go with your size there in a second, Charles. Something about the Dominican people that's loving, heartwarming, and they are just real people. I don't care where I am. If Francisco is in the crowd and he looks up and he sees me, he stops what he's doing. He comes over and gives me a big hug. It's like, McClain, my brother, I'm so glad. He'll say, I knew that you were going to come. He always says that. I mean, awesome. It was we had a great opportunity to go to Dominican Republic for the opening of his new factory and his box factory. And for him, it's not just cigars and money. He likes to do for his people. One of the things that he does that he hasn't talked about that nobody talks about in Dominican Republic, when you are a cigar roller, when your days are over, That's it. No more money, right? You're done, right? Francisco started a retirement fund for the people that work for him so that when they retire, they will get a monthly check. And that is something that just is not done in the industry. That's how much he loves the people. He made a cigar called the Mafu. Mafu, I got to meet Mafu before he died, right? Mafu was a guy who was kind of mentally challenged or whatever, and he would work around the plant, sweep up and do stuff. But all Mafu wanted was cigars. He loved smoking cigars. He didn't have the money, so he would work for cigars, right? And he took Mafu and he told me, I'm going to make a cigar for you, and your name is going to be known all over the world. And people loved that Mafu cigar. Went down there to meet him, and he just, just a great thing. Same thing with Jonas. I met him at TPE one year. I didn't know nothing about the trade show, my first trade show. And he was there. I walk up. I say, listen, here's who I am. I want to do an interview or whatever. He says, I'm busy right now, but if you come back in 30 minutes, I'll make time for you. I came back in 30 minutes, and I mean, literally, he opened up the keys. He gave me the keys to the castle, moved everybody. What do you need? What do you want to see? And he sat down and he talked to me, no rush or whatever. Same thing. When I see Jonas anywhere, my brother, good to see you. Two brothers that I love. Steve Saka is another one. I love Steve. Steve, I love him. I don't care what anybody says about him, his cigars, or anything. Steve is my man, whether I like his cigar that he puts out or I don't. He is my man. First time I walked up to him, I said, hey, I'm LeeMack912 out in Kansas City. And I said, I don't really like your cigars. He said, that's all right. He said, that's all right. I make what I like, but here, try this cigar in this size, this one in that size, this one in that size, and then go from there. So Steve's a longtime sponsor of my channel, and love him. All right, Charles, go ahead. I didn't talk too much.
Nah, one of the things I was going to say when you're talking about Lanceros, I want to see Mick go Cruella de Vil on this and put a Lancero in one of the little cigarette what is it? And just have him hold it. It's about 1.5 foot long, and he's just smoking it like that. Going back to what my favorite size is, be a 46 to a 52, 5.5 to 6 inches. So if you're hitting 5.5 to 6 inches, 46 to 52, I don't like to go much over 42 or 56. I don't like to go anything much under a 48, 45, something like that. Corona Gorda would be a great one for me. Love that size. So yeah, that's if I can find something that's a good smoke in a Corona, I love it. You're talking about people that go ahead.
I was gonna say, so what do you think about those big 60 ring gauge, the 70s, the 80s, all of those big ring gauge cigars?
I'm good.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm good.
One, if it's like a 6x60 is the biggest I've ever been willing to smoke. And to me, I'm somebody who wants to be taken on a roller coaster ride when it's on a cigar. I want to go up and down, up and down, up and down. On a 6x60, it's the same freaking cigar the entire way through, and I can't get into it. Anything over a 6x60, I'm not even going to try. I just don't want it. You're talking about some of the people that you are some of the best people that you've met. And you're talking about Jonas. Whether it comes to Jonas with Blackbird, or it comes with Brian with Cavalier, Enrique with Matilde, or
another great guy.
Oh yeah, Enrique is amazing. Or you go John Huber with Crown Heads. To me, those are some of the best humans on this planet right now, because they will all sit down and give the shirt off their back, and they still have love for the cigar. I mean, they love their brand, but they still geek out on cigars, and I love that.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Brian from Privada Cigar Club. I know people don't get along with Brian. Some people hate him. Some people love him. But I don't care what anybody says. Brian is my dude. He's another one that you'll have to fight me over, Brian, because Brian is the guy that gave me the opportunity to put out these cigars, right? All of these cigars. Brian is my dude. Brian is the first person that came to me and said, listen, what you do, box openings and your stuff is worth money. and I want you to open a box for me, and I'm going to pay you. Here, I'm going to send you some money. He's the first person that ever paid me to do a box opening. And when I went to him and said, hey, listen, he had a program. We're putting out these small batch cigars or whatever. If you want to do it, you do the marketing. We'll sell it on the site. He's the first person that gave me that opportunity and continues to give me that opportunity when they basically stopped doing that.
Yeah.
We don't do that no more. I know Brian.
Well,
I know Brian, but I want to do this. He said, all right,
I get that. I know Brian pretty well, and we were one of in our club, our cigar club, we were one of the first clubs that was willing, when he was going through his stuff, to bring him on and try to reintroduce him into people. And when he started Cigar Public, I was his first whiskey writer and one of his first 5 cigar reviewers. So I worked with him all up until, I guess, a couple of months ago when he shut down, kind of giving Cigar Public a break. So he was the first one. I mean, I did writings and stuff independently. He was the first one who actually put me out there in front of everybody. And, even on his lives and things that he used to do, he would give me shout outs and stuff that I was writing. So I got to give a lot of props to Brian for what he's done to get me out there, because, the Smoking Oak name of what I do on Instagram wouldn't have gone as far as it did without him pushing it for a while. So got to give him some props on that one.
Yeah, that's my brother. And I'm not going to say that we don't always get along, right? It's just like your little brother, right? Sometimes you fight with your little brother, but nobody else better not mess with him, because that's my little brother. You know what I'm saying? So people can say whatever they want to say, whatever, whoever you are, if you're Carlito, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care, because I know how he treated me. And so how people treat me is important, and if you treat me well, that means a lot to me. Not only just me, if you treat my people, anybody that I call family, and you treat them well, and they come back and tell me, hey, your man, he really hooked me up, that means a lot to me. And he's done that.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much the same way I go is, people, would talk a lot of stuff about him, but I would always come back and say, he's been good to me and he was good to my club. So Absolutely. that's all I can go with. So going out of the Navy, where did you go from the Navy? I know you're a truck driver, or you was a truck driver for a while. Yeah. Where did you go after the Navy?
So after the Navy, I mean, the whole time while I was in the Navy, I worked for the government. I worked for the Navy, and I worked for the Army. We worked at Fort Monmouth. They closed the base down, and they decided they were going to move everybody to Maryland. If you wanted a job, we give you a job in Maryland. So I came down to Maryland, got the job. I wasn't really happy in the job in Maryland, but I did it. One of the things that job allowed me to do was hook up with, I'm a great teacher, inspiration guy, whatever. So I made my own job. So when I came to every year, when they said, what did you do for the year? And what are your accomplishments or whatever? None of that was on my job description. So what I ended up doing was, near the end of my career, I became the mentor for the new people that were working for our organization. And I picked them up. And I said like this: if you come to a new job, when I started, we always had like almost like a mentor. So the mentor would look after you, make sure you knew where to go eat, where you could do this, that, whatever. My mentor, when I first started with the Navy, he said, a lot of guys like to go over to the airship. It's a strip club. At lunchtime, have a beer at lunch or whatever. That was it. He gave me the inside ropes or whatever. So I started doing that for the Navy, picked up a bunch of students, showed them around, did stuff that I was not supposed to do. You're not supposed to put them in the van and go off base and do all this stuff. I said, all right, come on, y'all. We going off base. You come in here. You don't have any place to live. Let's go look around at these towns, and let me tell you where you could live. Let me show you some things, right? Let me give you some insight, all those type of things. And I love my students. One of the students was not even a part of the group, and she was a young black girl. and her last name was McClain. My last name is McClain. It was spelled differently. And I said, hey, who are you? What are you doing? Where did you come from? Whatever. She told me, whatever. I said, okay, you're going to be my cousin. I adopted her as my cousin, right? So yet to this day, she's my cousin, right? She comes to the family picnics and the cookouts, and she invites me over for Christmas with her and her husband. She got married and went to a wedding, all this stuff. So all of my, it tends to be the girls that kind of stick to me. The guys kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know. But that's what I did. I was in program analysis and all this other bullshit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That was the highlight. But near the end of the career, I was getting tired of management. Management really didn't want to hear what I had to say. They wanted me on the team because they said, hey, listen, you're a black guy, so now we can fix our minority quotas or whatever. But they didn't really want to hear what I had to say. I'm like, listen, I have a lot of experience. I have some degrees. I have all of this stuff, yada, yada, yada. Nope, we don't want to hear it. So when they offered an early retirement, I think I was 54. I said, I'm out of here. I'm gone. So I left. But in the meantime, I had always had the dream of when I retired, I was going to do some truck driving for a few years. I went, I paid, I got a scholarship. I went to truck driving school, got my CDL, got some money together, bought a truck, bought a trailer, started a trucking company. So when the early retirement came out, then I just went trucking, and I enjoyed that. You know, I drove. I was not over the road. I literally was back home every day, but I enjoyed that. I went to Uber Freight, picked out loads. I worked when I wanted to work. I didn't work when I didn't want to work. I loved trucking. I loved it. Then COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, the whole industry changed. The whole industry changed. So therefore, it caused me to park my truck because I couldn't make the same money that I was making. Loads that I was making going to Philly, $950, $1,000. Now they were paying $250. I'm like, well, that doesn't even pay fuel and tolls for the truck. It doesn't make sense. So, and it's till this day, it's still the same way. So the truck is still parked. And
I remember I remember you doing some shows where you were talking about that, or at least hinting at it, and then you would do some lead-ins where you were just giving the truck a drive around. You know, you would just
that's all I was doing.
Yeah, just giving the truck a little drive to keep it active. And, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, we get to see a glimpse outside of our area of some of the hardships some of the other industries are going through.
Oh, yeah. And it's tough. And even now, I mean, a part of the issue and part of the problem is, shout out to my foreigners that come over to the country and want to make a better way. There's a lot of things that are not right in the industry, which makes the small guys not able to succeed. You know, we have electronic logs which say you can only drive so many hours a day. These guys have AI and they'll go back and reset the logs. So I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? I can only work my 14-hour shift. That's all I can do. But then again, when you want to pay me $250 to work that 14-hour shift, I do better. So that's why I added that's why I went to teaching new drivers or whatever to stay in the industry, but the truck is still parked. And you know, it's like Murphy's Law. You know, I just had one thing fixed on the truck. I go out there and do something. They'll go, what the hell is all this oil dripping out the back of the damn motor? It's a pain in the ass. So I got a mechanic coming to look at that. So I love it. I love the industry, but I don't know if I'll ever get back to it or not.
As somebody who grew up in, you know, rail cars and trucks, what do you drive and what did you name her?
Oh, so I've got a 2011 Peterbilt 386. She's black and her name is Nefertiti. And she is a sweet, sweet girl. She is very, very sweet girl. I love that truck. I went out to Wisconsin. Again, I'm a person that I go forward if I have 80% of the solution. So I bought this truck, went out to Wisconsin. I don't know. I never drove a truck cross country at all. I could have got a load or drug a trailer back, but I didn't know how to do that, right? I was new. So I bobtailed all the way back from Minnesota with Nefertiti. 2 days, came back. Shout out to Lee Hill. The damn truck broke down in Iowa. Shout out to Carnell. He's out there in Iowa. And Lee Hill, another guy that I met through the cigar community who was a truck driver. I called Lee. I said, Lee, I got all these lights on the dashboard. All this shit is going on. I don't know what to do. I'm in Iowa. I'm a long way from Maryland. I don't know what to do. He said, where you at? I said, I'm on route such and such, whatever. He said, all right, I'm on the way. He said, I'm on my way to Maryland. As a matter of fact, I got a load going to Maryland. I'll come up and see what we could do. So Lee pulled up, corncob pipe in his mouth. I had no tools. I was going to Walmart to get some tools, but I never made it there. And he came out. I said, Lee, what we going to do? He said, I don't know. He said, we're going to stop unplugging shit. We're going to start unplugging shit and see what happens. And we can get some of these lights to go off, then we'll go. He unplugged shit, unplugged this, whatever. One light was still binging, bing, bing, bing. He said, all right, follow me. He said, if you can get up over 30 miles an hour, you'll be good. Got up over 30 miles an hour. The light was going. The thing was bing, bing, bing. After a while, the shit got tired. It got tired of binging. It just stopped, and we came on down to Maryland. I drove as far as I could, and I went to, I forget where I stopped. I stopped at Iowa 80, I think, that night, and spent the night. He had to go on, and then I made it on back to Maryland, and the rest was history.
So let's go into cigars. Let's go into when you decided to actually start the YouTube channel, what your thoughts about doing it was, why you were wanting to do it, and let's go into, the progress between the old sheetrock days all the way up into, you got your Philadelphia Eagle stuff behind you, your Colonel Taylor behind you. You've got the background that we're used to now versus the old school days of sheetrock and mud.
Yeah, I really started it because I felt like, again, the people I was watching wasn't telling me what I wanted to know. Every cigar is not good. There's some cigars that you'll smoke and you go, this cigar is shit to me. All right. I don't like it. So I figured that somebody else might have a palate like I do, and they might want to know that this cigar is not that good. So that was just, first, it was just an experiment. And when people started watching, I said, well, let me smoke this cigar and see what I think about it. One of the worst cigars I ever smoked was Casino. I think it was Casino Gold or something like that. Shit was terrible. But what I found was I found a community and I found a family. And I found people that said, you know what? I like your reviews. I like what you're saying. I appreciate you telling me that the cigar wasn't good. I'm going to skip that one. And then I found people that said, you know what? I smoked that cigar and it was good. You said it was terrible. So I found people that said, I appreciate you being consistent. If you like it and my palate is the same, I'm going to try it. If you hate it and my palate is exactly different than yours, I'm going to try it. So, that's kind of where it started, and it just kind of evolved. The stories was just like I said, I put stuff in the videos to cut out.
Well, and then I was like, that's what I was going to say is, what made you decide to do, like, you don't consider it this. Us as people who watch consider it as it's almost like daily life lessons. It's like sitting back, listening to your uncle tell you about stories from him growing up and you sitting back going, damn, I just learned something. So what made you go into that atmosphere? Because there's nobody else that does that stuff.
That came from real estate. So I also sell real estate. I've been selling real estate for a long time. And one of the things that we learned, I started with Exit Realty. And some of the stuff I did some coaching and some stuff with, I forget the name of the program. But one of the things that I learned was if you can tell a good story, you can capture a customer. So it went into telling stories, and it just kind of evolved. And that came from the real estate. Hey, tell a story. I tell the story of the Cohiba Spectre. I just smoked the Cohiba Spectre, $150, right? I've talked to Sean Williams, and he knows how I feel about price, right? And I will say about Cohiba, what they don't do is a good job of telling you the story of why this cigar might cost that much money. I said, if you told the story correctly, more people might be interested in smoking that cigar. So it just kind of was something that I do. And then you get older, old people tell stories. So I just being an old guy, I guess. I don't know. It was funny the first time somebody called me OG, I was like, shit, I'm 50 years old. I ain't no OG. The OGs are much older than me. But then I realized I had people that would come on and say, yeah, I'm a young guy. I'm a young white guy. My dad wasn't ever around. The stuff that you're talking about and telling me is stuff that my father never told me, but I wish I had heard.
Man, that sums it up perfectly. Like the first time I tuned into you, I'm like, this guy has a voice and a story for every situation, and I could listen to this guy for the rest of my life. And I did have a good dad growing up, you know what I mean? But like people that didn't, I could see how that would relate, you know what I mean? Like your stories always have a place, man. And it's definitely and there's something about your voice, man, that I could listen to for the next like 10 hours straight. Like it's awesome, man. You tell a great story.
I mean, it's something like some of those singers that you listen to from the, you know, whether it's from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. My genre is 50s, 60s rock. That is mine. That's what I grew up with listening with my dad. So you listen to Motown and stuff like that, and you have these distinct voices. When LeeMack starts his episode every time, my wife will be sitting out here on her phone, and as soon as he goes into that really high, you know, really fast, you know, intro, she just looks up every time because she knows exactly who it is. And it's one of those things that just the voice alone, I'm going to give you a book and tell you to read it because the voice is settling. But when you take that and you put it into something that we're interested in, like the cigar industry, you have a way, and it's not dry. It's not unauthentic. It's life stories from your uncle from way back. And it's something that, you know, as a listener, I enjoy.
As a fan.
I appreciate that. You got to meet people where they are, right? So, and I've been a lot of places. I've been in high class places. I've been in low class places, right? I always have a good time. I can relate to everybody, right? So I always say I'm just as happy sitting on a milk crate in a yard at a barbecue than in a fancy restaurant where it costs $200 a plate. I can relate to all of it. And the thing that for me is that people don't, I don't know, some people have that let them eat cake, you know, mentality, right? Some people in this life have it hard. They got it hard, very hard. And you have to understand that even though I'm telling you to have a great day, I understand that today might look like it sucks for you. And I'm not taking that away from you. It does suck in your world. But I'm trying to help you understand it sucks, but tomorrow might be a little bit better depending on your mentality and how you look at things. So you get up and you say, today is going to be another great day. It's going to be another great day. I started out saying another great day. I was in the middle of a divorce, and my wife was giving me hell. I thought I was living in the house. There was the house that I dreamed of, big 3,000 square foot, beautiful neighborhood. I loved this house. And then all of a sudden I felt like my wife started smoking crack or something because I didn't know who this person was that was in the house to me, right? It got so bad when I tell the story, right? I was riding around with a 5-gallon gas can in the trunk trying to figure out how I could burn this fucking house down. I wasn't living there. She had some other dude living there. I'm trying to burn this house down, right? The only thing that stopped me was the house was close to my neighbors, and I liked my neighbors. I had George on one side. I had my African neighbor on the other side, and they were all good to me. So I didn't. And then if I do that, they catch me, I'm going to jail for what? And then she still wins. So that day I said, you know what? tomorrow's got to be better than today. Tomorrow's going to be a good day. I'm going to make it a good day. And then eventually I said, I'm going to make it a great day. And you know what? It was a great day. And I just started with that. Hey, every day is a great day. So when you look at people and you understand their situation, and you understand the situation might not be as good as your situation, you got to have sympathy for people, and you don't feel sorry for people. But if it's something that you could do to help them out to have a better day, that's what our job is, to try to help people out, help other people, right? I've had people that have written and say, well, I just lost my job, and, I love watching your videos, but I'm not going to be able to smoke for a while. So, brother, send me your address. I'll send you some. I'll send you some cigars. I got more cigars than I can smoke in a lifetime. I'll share with you. So it's about sharing. It's not about saying I got all this and you don't have nothing, and lording it over people. You try to help people, and anybody wants to try to get ahead, and you have a way to help them get ahead. Help them get ahead. It ain't gonna hurt you none. I saw a comment from my brother Matt Bailey. I wanted to see that comment again. You got that, Charles?
Which one is that?
He was talking about the first time I met LeeMack.
Oh, yeah. So first time I met LeeMack, he came up to the truck stop and we hung out. But before I left, the brother and I prayed for safety, and I told my wife we were hooked.
And Matt been my brother ever since. I told him, I said, Matt, anytime you come through this way, brother, if you need a place to stay, you need a hot shower, you need a meal, you just call me. He would tell me, I don't want to bother you or whatever. I said, Matt, and I would be mad at him. He said, well, I was your way, but I didn't call you. Matt, call me. That's been my brother. And so, me, him, and Ak, we get on a group chat every day, check out, make sure everybody is good, seeing what's going on. Matt lost his wife last year. And, I met his wife when he came up. We met her at Cigar Con, Pravada Con, and we had a great time. And one of the things I said about her, I was like, she loved her some Matt. She loved Matt. So I know the hard times that he's going through now without her, because she was a woman that loved her husband. She really did. Matt is our brother, and Ak would say, man, I love that brother. I introduced him to Ak. Man, they got hooked up. Love him, And it's like, it's things that you do for other people. When I put out my first cigar, Matt was coming. He said, well, I'm not going to be home. I'm on the road. I'm coming through Jacksonville. I said, I got somebody in Jacksonville that might be able to hook you up with the cigars. I said, LaTanya, this guy, Matt, he's going, come over here. Could you just take him some cigars? I'll replace them for you. Whatever. She went over and did that. She tells the story. She said, I didn't know this guy. He could have been the killer. But that's what it's all about. For me, it's family, right? It's
amazing,
family and we have a great time. You meet people, you hook other people up. People have met each other. Matt, I introduced him to Jason Ritchie. I knew Jason as a guy on our hearth. He was just a guy. I call him my pink brother with the crazy ass hair. He got the crazy dreadlocks and shit. I don't know who he was, but he was a cool guy. I liked him, right? I come to find out he's a Grammy Award winning harmonica player. Matt and his wife got to go down and meet him at a show when he was in Florida. He's like, man, he's really good. And he said, when I went up there and I told him who I was, he was so excited to meet me. And the people around Jason were like, well, who is this guy? But that's the way our family is. Our family connects with each other. It's like we love each other. It's like Carnell is going out to meet up with MD Spider because MD Spider does barbecue. He's coming there. They're going to hook up and do that. Spider sent me some rub and some wine, and I sent Spider some stuff. It's just that. When I went to Kansas City, brother was out there. I was out there for a month. And brother said, man, I wish I'd known you was there. Brother Aaron Brooks, #1 brother in Kansas City. I always say that. Why? Because brother said, oh, man, you still here? I'm going to scoop you up. We're going to have a good time. Scoop me up. We went to the high-class lounge, took me to the little private lounge in the hood. We went to the diner in the hood. We had a great time. Aaron came here. Come on down to the house. Met the wife, whatever. We had a good time. Brother Dion, Hey, look, you coming down, man? Come to the house. Stay at the house. I stayed at Dion's house. Somebody I met online. Good people. Good people. We all good people in my family. I love them all. I do. And that's serious.
This community is like no other, man. And I know we've said it 100 times on the air, off the air. We always have that connection, and we become a family. And it's unbelievable. Like, Lee, you're coming to town. You know I got you. You know, we're having our herf here in another month. And I've already told everybody, hey, if somebody wants to stay here, great. You know, like we got you. And it's
Oh,
like,
make sure I get an invite, man. Let me make sure I know, because I don't always follow everything, so sometimes I miss it, but don't let me miss it, all right?
all right. Yeah, man. We're doing our Western Tennessee herf at a brewery with some brewery brothers that I met from down here in Memphis. So if you want to make a Memphis trip, man, let me know. I'll send you the invitation.
Hey, when's that going to be?
August 30th. We're going to talk about it a little bit later here, but August 30th, it's on a Saturday. I got you, brother, if you want to come in.
I might have to make it down that way, because my nephew is down there in Mississippi, so, you know.
We got you, man. I'll send you all the information, and I'll make sure you're comfortable, brother. I got you.
So one of the things I like about watching your channel is, and watching it for so long, you talk about LaTanya, or you talk about Ock, you talk about Matt Bailey. You know, you talk about these guys so much and the personality behind them. I don't know these three. I've never met them, never talked to them. But at the same time, I feel like I know them, because you'll start talking about flavor notes. You'll start talking about experiences, and you'll be like, oh, this is going to be for you. Or Matt Bailey, this is making me think about you. And it's one of those things that you reach out to the people who's been with you since day one. And that's one of the things that got me, and I don't know about Mick, but that's one of the things that the reason we rely so much on our chat and we post so much stuff out there is we want to acknowledge the people that's been with us from day one. Because one, I saw the way that you make sure that you talk about the people that's been with you. You don't do a live show on your reviews and stuff. Yeah, you do it on Meet in the Middle, which is, you know, one of the shows I watch, you know, on Sundays. But you talk about these people like they're there with you. And it's one of the things I appreciate. And that's the reason that we kind of do what we do. So I appreciate that. So in the YouTube world, I mean, you made a comment and you kind of laughed at it, but I posted in our first thing, you're the YouTube Cigar OG. When you think about it and you go back into when this got started, you were one of the first that was willing to go out there and put your business out there. You were willing to take the chance. And when people could say that, you know, you're full of crap or whatever, that's really cool for somebody who's getting into this. And this is our first year. So my question to you is, going over, you know, the time span that you've been doing this, what are some of the most memorable things that you've gone through in the YouTube experience? And what were some of the things that you went through that got you the most down?
I don't know if anything ever got me down. Some of the memorable stuff was the fights and the wars. One of my favorite fights, shout out to Tony, the Cigar Assassin. Tony has his group over there, the Cigar Assassins. Martina Maya, somebody I used to watch or whatever. We fell out or whatever. Vintage Cigar, those guys or whatever. And so, you know, I'm a creative guy. So things are funny to me that might not be funny to anybody else, right? So Mahalalil, he stuck with this for a long time. I did a video called Soy Sauce for Life, and it was a spoof on a Soy Sauce Assassins video. I got to put that one back up on YouTube. And that was like one of my favorite ones. It was like soy sauce for life. And then my wife's going, yeah, boy. So that was fun. Vintage Cigar and I got into some stuff or whatever. I guess he felt like I was not being open and welcome to him. He called me a gatekeeper. I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to see anybody else succeed. Yada yada yada. Right. So you know, he got into a real thing. I give a quote. He said, "I hate that old bastard." Tell me how you really feel about me, right? But some of that stuff was fun to me. it's like at that time I was watching a lot of YouTube trucker videos. And at that point we had there was an app. It was almost like a CB app or a walkie-talkie app. We talk about getting people down the road. And these guys would get on there and talk, and we would, talk back and forth to different drivers or whatever. It was helping them get down the road, right? So in that community, there ended up being a lot of this one doesn't like that one and whatever the case is. I did one video where it was like, talking about the trucker war or whatever, and that was fun. It's all been fun to me. It's not a serious thing. Some people say, hey, look, my channel is monetized. I make a lot of money or whatever. My channel used to be monetized. I didn't make a lot of money. I made some money off of YouTube. You didn't make a lot of money. But it's all been fun to me. People get butt hurt and they get their feelings hurt. It's no need to get your feelings hurt because there's really room for all of us, right? We all have a space. The pie is big. We can all get a slice without putting anybody down. So you'll see, I don't never put anybody down. If I don't like you and I don't like your channel, then I don't subscribe and I don't watch. I'm not going to tell somebody else not to watch. Now, me and my boys might talk about it behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? We talk about people all the time because that's what we do. But
so that's why our numbers aren't going up. Damn. Got it.
We talking bad about you.
So you said something that brings me back to my childhood again. You're talking about CBs. So, growing up in, my dad working with trucks and trains, we had a 10-foot antenna on the top of the house that we got put up there so I could have a CB. What's your CB handle when you're on the road?
I don't really have one, to tell you the truth.
You really? Growing up,
yeah.
mine was, I mean, corny as hell. Brave Bandit. I'm Atlanta Braves fan. Love Smokey and the Bandit. Take the two together. And it was so fun to talk to people who would come through Chattanooga. I would stay up until my dad made me go to bed, learning all the codes and talking to people. And it was when you could actually, as a kid, talk to people and it wasn't bad.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I remember a song back from my kid. I forget the gist of the song was there was a guy on the CB. It was a little kid. His name was, I think it was Teddy Bear or something like that, And he used to talk to all the truck drivers or whatever. It turns out that he was a crippled kid or whatever. And the whole story unfolded. It was like a great story. But I used to love, I still love trucking, right? My dad says once that diesel smoke gets in your nose, it's hard to get it out, You just have to have a love for it. I see it in my students that they don't necessarily have that same love that we did. But I will watch the movies, White Line Fever and Smokey and the Bandit, Black Dog, all this. I'll go back and watch them now. I love those movies, White Line Fever, my man took the Blue Mule and ran it through the damn front of the corporate office. He was the the owner operator, and they were trying to blackball him and the old black guy. He comes with the shotgun. He's like, you're going to load that shit up now. Load it up. We want that load going to Colorado or whatever. Great movies. I love that, right? Because that reminded me of my dad and the time that I spent in the truck with my dad, riding, just, or whatever. It was just, to me, it was great times. But the other side of it, right? So when you talk about being real, my dad was an alcoholic. My dad drank every day, all day. So when you talk about being an alcoholic and you're driving down the road with this guy, we got this big 80,000 pound vehicle and he's swinging off of the vodka bottle, as we're going down the road. It's a scary thing. So I can understand why my mother didn't necessarily want me to go with him, but I always wanted to go with my dad. When he pulled up in front of the house, I would run up, hop up on the thing, and I would get his lunchbox and his water container, the Coleman container. I found one at a flea market. I got it in the basement because this reminds me of my dad. This is what he used to have, right? So, in part of having a father and you say wasn't always a good father. That was him. But then there was experiences. I was 12 years old. The truck broke down in upstate New York. my cousin had a Kenworth K100. Damn, that thing was pretty. I love that thing, but that was a pretty truck, cab over. So we go up to upstate New York to get the truck. We're going to get a chain and drag the truck back down to New Jersey, right? On the way up, my cousin's driving, and my father's buddy, his drinking buddy, Frank. So Frank and my dad, they're drinking all the way up, drinking. When they get up there, both of these dudes is drunk. They can't drive the truck. We got to bring the truck back. All right, nephew, you're going to have to steer the truck back. All right, I'm 12 years old, no license, behind the wheel of this big-ass rig. The damn steering wheel is this damn wide. We pulling it. We start coming out of those mountains, and I'm scared as hell. I'm sitting there. I'm holding the brakes because I'm like, this shit is going too fast for me. My cousin pulls over. He said, listen, nephew, you're going to have to let go of them brakes. We ain't never going to get home. Drove the truck home. This is at night now. We coming home through night, down through the mountains. We come through Patterson, Passaic, rush hour traffic, pull up in front of the house. That shit was crazy. But, again, that was a part of the experience of my life that, again, I would have never had that experience. I wouldn't do that to my kids, but it was things that I learned, and I had a great time with it. That's why I love trucking. I still do. That wasn't your question. I don't know where the hell I went with that, but
I don't know. Yeah, sometimes this show just does that to you. But honestly, that's awesome. Like, I was riveted that whole time. Like, this is an awesome story. Charles, I'm going off subject here again. We still haven't connected completely because, like, my dad was a truck driver, and we have so many things that are so fucking in common. It's ridiculous that we've never talked
crazy.
About. And it's slowly coming out on this show. Like, we've talked about it a bunch of times. We've only met in person 3 times now, and we've had 40 shows, and it's crazy how many things we have in common. Like, we hit the church thing today, the Baptist thing today, the truck driver thing today. Like, it's just,
and cigars.
Yeah, of course. That's definitely going to bring us together. But man, it's been a weird night. I'm like, holy shit, it all makes sense now. Why we get along so well.
So you were talking about the smell of the diesel. So growing up on the rail yards, there's 3 things that always set me back, because this was before OSHA got involved. Right. So, on the rail cars, it was called a humping engine. So it was a little bitty engine that would be on the tracks, and it was about the size of a big truck. And you would go connect up with rail cars, and you would move them around the rail yard. I got to learn how to drive one of those as an early teen, again, before OSHA. So I was standing on top of rail cars. I was hooking up couplers, and things like that, and doing the switches. And one of the things I can remember telling my dad is, I love the smell of the diesel. I love when one of those like Peterbilts turn on, and you can feel it in your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that black smoke roll when they're trying to get their engines going. That, to me, and then the sound of, the brake on a rail car kicking off, and it's just that loud burst of air. To me, that's some of the best sounds in the world. And you were talking about your truck. I would say one of the prettiest trucks ever built. You go into like the 80s throughout the 80s, Peterbilt, the big wide nose, big, huge stacks on the side of it. And people would deck those noses out like they had teeth, like the glass had eyes, had the big square glass up front. To me, and people took pride in those trucks, and they had those trucks painted perfectly. And sitting in the back of my dad's old 70-something Pontiac, going down the road, going to Atlanta, and just being out there, praying that these guys would honk at you. That's my best memories growing up. So
yeah, man.
Absolutely
those are great memories, man.
The pinstriping on those things. I remember some great ones. Oh, yeah.
It's like if you ever go to any of the truck shows now, you see those trucks. And what I like is the old trucks. Like when I was in Kansas City, I went to the Antique Truck Museum, and you look at those old trucks, and you see them when they bring them out to the shows. And, honestly, those trucks were not made for comfort. They were made for work. There was a guy who I watched his video. It's called The Last Run. There you go.
Look at that thing.
Run.
Oh,
He had a 56 Bullnose Kenworth, right?
nice.
No power steering, no air conditioning. And the old man, he had a stroke or whatever, had 2 sticks in it, right? He said, she's a miserable old heifer, but I love her. And he ran that truck cross country. He said when they see him coming, they'd be like, all right, here comes, or whatever his name was. Here comes old John. He coming to town or whatever, you know. And he went through the woods with that truck. It almost made – the video makes me cry because he finally decided he had to sell it and get rid of it. He wasn't going to be able to drive no more. But that old truck was his baby, you know.
Oh, it's like my uncle growing up in, you know, he raised hogs and farms and stuff like that. And he had an old 70s Ford tractor.
Yeah.
The hardest thing in the world to drive, but it was my favorite thing in the world to drive. That's where I learned how to drive.
Yeah, my dad had
tractor.
one of those. The big 70 cab over. It had the big letters on it, F-O-R-D, Ford.
Yep. So last thing I'm going to talk about is one thing that I love, and you always laugh when you do it on your channel. And whether you're talking about Saka or you're talking about Hubert, you talk about, hey, I'm about to smoke another cigar from Crown Heads, even though John knows that I hate everything that he puts out, and you laugh. It's experiences like that with some of the brand owners that you have a connection with. I know you talk about Hubert, you talk about John, or you talk about Hubert and you talk about Saka a lot. What are some of those relationships that you have gotten into the cigar industry to where you can giggle that you go up and talk to them that half the shit you put out I don't like, but I'm still going to smoke it. What are some of those relationships?
Listen, one of my most exciting moments at the trade show was actually finally getting to meet John Hubert. He was walking down the thing. I said, John, LeeMack, I gotta stop you, man. I gotta get a picture. I'm fanboying out or whatever, right? What I love about John is again another guy that is passionate about cigars. He's passionate about what he makes. I smoked every new Crown Heads that came out until the J.D. Howard Reserve. I remember the one where I was going, I don't think so, right? I don't like this one that much. But I loved everything before that, right? So it's not a personal thing, but the thing that John did during COVID, if you remember, he was doing live streams from his daughter's bedroom. And he would say, all right, I got to go. My daughter's kicking me out. You know, she wants her room back or whatever the case. These are like real people with real families, real businesses. They're trying to make money. They know that everything that they make is not going to be a hit, but they're trying to get the next hit. They're trying to keep the business growing. They're trying to grow. It's a hard industry to be in the cigar industry. So somebody that can do it and make it and be successful, you gotta love them for that. And I do. So I have a lot of love for John Hubert, whether I like the cigars or not. You talked about, I smoked the Las Calaveras. I haven't smoked the Las Calaveras in a long time that I liked. And I buy them every year and I go, all right, I still don't like it, you know. But I still appreciate the effort that they go through to put out the cigars. And that's the thing. You got to love people for what it is they do. I think a lot of reason that you don't like a lot of the Las Calaveras is that it has a high mineral note to it. And we talked in a live stream that you were on with Meet in the Middle. And I don't know why I haven't asked this one, but I'll do that in a minute. But we got into a conversation about, I told, one of the people on there said, you were talking about how do you know if you like a cigar or not? And I posted on there, I know if LeeMack starts talking about that this is a mineral cigar, because a lot of our palate lines up, mine and yours. But the moment you start talking about that you don't like the cigar because it's got mineral in it, I'm going to buy a box of them because I love it. Right. So and that's the thing that you like, and that's cool. So, that's one of the things I always get from his cigars is there's a minerally note to all of them.
There's only been one Las Calaveras in the last 4 years that I've loved. I mean, the other ones I could smoke and they were decent, but there's only one. I think it was 2 years ago. It was the 2023 that I loved. The
Yellow
other
Band?
ones I was like, yeah, Yellow Band. Yeah, that was the one I loved. The other ones I was like, I give or take.
Have y'all smoked the Broadway?
I have.
What your thoughts on it?
I think it's a good cigar. I
See, right there, I would be like, okay, yeah, all right, next.
Yeah. I think it's a good cigar. I think it needs a little more punch. It needs more depth. I think it's a really good cigar. But as somebody who, again, likes a roller coaster ride in cigars, I like a lot of transitions.
Right.
This one has big transitions in the front and then mellows out through the end.
We are super spoiled on this show because like we've been very particular. Like you talked about fanboying out earlier. Like we've fanboyed out in this show, and I don't know where we go in season and in year 2 or 3, because we've hit a lot of our top people that we love in the first year, and the cigars we've reviewed on the show are cigars that we know we absolutely enjoy. Like we'll never fake a review or something we smoke. We've just gotten really lucky we've gotten the people that we love on the show, and we smoke great cigars. But there's definitely some that we're a little lower on because it doesn't hit that roller coaster ride or that transitions that we like in the cigar.
Mm-hmm. What are if you had to say your top 3 cigars? What's your top 3 cigars or brands?
Ooh. For this year,
the
highest
time.
rated
It don't have to be this year.
of all time. The new lore that I will say the new lore that just came out, the last cast. I talked to Lou Cross the other day and said this is one of my all-time favorite cigars. I love this cigar. The Fricky by Family by Loyalty will probably be one of my all-time favorite cigars. I absolutely love the Undercrown 10. You know, a lot of people give shit on Drew Estate, but I think the Undercrown 10 is one of their best cigars.
You hit 2 out of my 3. So Lure, but I have not had the last cast yet, but I love the Brownie Trout. The Red Meat Lovers by Saka.
Red Meat Lovers
by Dunbarton. I absolutely love the Red Meat Lovers, the ribeye. That was my cigar of the year last year. And
nice.
Yeah, that Frecky by Family by Loyalty is up there for me. So those 3, if I had to stock my humidor, that would be those 3.
My top, everybody knows, Atabey. Give me anything by Atabey. I love Atabey.
Never had anything by him.
Great cigars. Not for everybody. They're mild. They remind me of Cuban cigars. Flavorful, great cigars. I love them. Second in line with the Atabey would be the Bandolero series that they put out, which I think are good too. DBL, great cigars. You talk about that mineral flavor that you love. That's typically in Dominican cigars. His Dominican cigars don't have that minerally flavor. I love that. That's a great cigar. And there was a third one I was going to mention. I just flipped out of my head, but.
So do you remember what your highest rated? I mean, one, have you ever counted how many cigars that you've reviewed?
No, but I know that it was over 1,000 before YouTube like deleted a bunch of videos.
So can you remember what your highest rated and your lowest rated was?
I don't know, because at some point I changed the rating scale. I used to do like an out of 10. And for me, like 7 or 8 was like on the top of the scale. But what people would do, if I said I rated it a 78, 7.8, they would call it 78 and say it's not that good. I'm like, I'm not trying to compete with the Cigar Aficionado scale. So then I changed it. But I've had some that have been like on my scale out of 5, 4.2, 4.3, but I don't remember what cigars was the highest rated.
Gotcha. Well, so one of the things that we like to do towards the end of a show is what we call hotbox questions. It's 10 random questions to you. If you've watched the show, it's probably not, but it's also 10 random, not so random questions to us. So we like to ask those. It kind of gives a little more insight into some of the things that you think and some of the questions that we haven't asked, but we always got to ask, are you willing to play hotbox questions?
Sure. Go ahead. I'm down.
All right. So before we get started, we got to say thanks to our sponsor for the hotbox questions, Beard Apothecary.
What's going on, everyone? I'm out here tonight. We got thunderstorm just starting, it's raining, but I don't care because this is for the Real Smoke podcast. My boys Mick and Charles. A couple things coming from Beard Apothecary. We've got the Bougie Grunt, modeled after a great friend of ours. Here comes the rain. And then we got our summer scent called the Daddy-O. This one here smells like that old Hawaiian Tropic suntan lotion. Can't lose with these. We got them in butters, we got them in oils, we got them in car diffusers. Hit us up. Make sure you like and follow Beard Apothecary, and make sure you like and follow Real Smoke Podcast. Peace out.
So huge thanks to John and our favorite Aldi, Tanya, for everything that you guys do over at Beard Apothecary.
He's got it. That dude had a real beard. I still got the starter kit, you know.
Mick's about to have the starter kit here soon, so
Yeah, mine's gonna be gone. I'm really bummed out about it. It's the best.
Shout out to Beard Apothecary.
yes. So if you guys have a beard and you love your beard, make sure you go check them out. Everything is all natural. Everything is made at home. Everything is 100% fantastic. So all the scents are great. So yeah, if you're interested in some good beard care product, they got beard wash, beard oils, butters, car diffusers, and a whole line of stuff. Go check them out at beardapothecary.com. So hotbox questions. Mick, you're always up for number one.
All right. So I didn't even tell you, Charles, I switched some questions again. So
I hope so.
tonight, question number one. Give us one word your friends would use to describe you.
Oh. One word that my friends would. Difficult.
Okay.
Are you really?
Okay.
My very closest friends will say there's a word that my supervisor called me once. I can't think of the word because I had to go look at it I had to look it up in the dictionary because it wasn't cantankerous. It was a word. I can't think of the word, but difficult is it. Shout out to El Jefe. Ak is in the chat. I see you there, brother.
He says you love Padron so much and would smoke them every day.
He says I'm a Padron hater, right? So I'm the only person that probably reviewed a Padron and said it was all right. Yeah. They love Padrons, him and Matt Bailey, right? Good night, LaTanya. Appreciate you hanging
Take care, LaTanya.
in.
Thanks for joining the show, and I will see you as a moderator in some of the other shows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, difficult. LaTanya would tell you that I'm difficult. That
All right.
side of me doesn't come out to people I don't care about.
So fill in the blank for me. When you talk about cigars, the YouTube community, and the community that you've created around the LeeMack912 brand, what is cigars all about for you?
Love. It's all
Nice.
about love.
Oh yeah. I love that comment, man. That's absolutely perfect.
That sums it up in one word.
Yeah.
100%.
We have brotherhood, community, love. It's all the same, man. That's amazing.
Listen, I love my family, and I'll tell anybody, listen, you got an issue, call me. I might not have the answer, but if anything else, I'll listen. I had a student the other day, young lady, and she's always, up and bubbly or whatever. This day I was like, hey, how you doing? You all right? And I looked at her. She said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, no, you're not. What's the matter? And she just started crying. So I still don't know what was wrong. But what I told her was, listen, I know there's an issue. If you need somebody to talk to, I'm always here to listen. I said, and just understand this, whatever we talk about stays between us.
I mean, you told me the same thing on the phone. I mean, you didn't know me from Adam. And you, day one, gave me your phone number and said, and on the phone call said, if you've got any questions, got any concerns, or you just need to talk, there's my number. Call me.
Right.
And it's like, I remember telling my wife, is like, I don't know what to do with this because he doesn't know me from Adam, but yet he gave me, he gave me the love and said, hey, if you need me.
Let's be honest. You were geeking out a little bit.
I even told him I was geeking out.
But that's okay, though. The fact that you felt that I was somebody that you wanted to talk to, that means a lot to me because I don't say it very often anymore, but I still say I'm just a dude in my garage smoking a cigar. I'm nobody
Smoking
special,
a cigar.
right? My wife will say, no, you don't understand. You are. You don't understand what you mean to people. She always says the same thing. You know, you mean a lot to people. We go places, the cigar she's going, somebody's going to know you here. I got nobody don't know me. And sure enough, somebody be like, I know that voice. You LeeMack, right? Yeah. I'm just a regular dude. You meet me in person, I'm a regular dude. Shout out to Money Matt too. He's Matt came on our live and or one of our Meet in the Middle shows, and he was Matt whatever. It was like, Matt, we already got a Matt. We're gonna have to give you another name, you know. So we're gonna call you Money Matt, you know. So then he adopted the Money Matt, and he's always there. You could check him out on Substack too. He's got a Substack channel that he's doing stuff on. He's always posting stuff almost daily, you know, good thoughts and cigars and just all kinds of stuff. So Matt's a good dude, man. I like him. And if you see what he's doing in the chat, he's like, hey, let's help get these guys up to 300 with 392. Subscribe,
100%.
whatever, right? That's
I mean,
love that.
Matt don't know us from Adam, and he's out there pushing us. So gotta say huge thanks to Matt for that one. So
yeah, Matt, we got you too, man. We got you too. That's what we do.
Matt says, if you all right with LeeMack, then you all right with me. And that's the way a lot of our family is. If you all right with him, you all right with us, you know?
Yeah, before we hit question number 3, LeeMack, if you come to Memphis, I promise you, man, you're more family here than you know. It's all right,
I appreciate you, brother.
So question number 3. Favorite musical band or artist? There's a reason I ask. Prince?
Prince, my all-time favorite. Purple is my favorite.
Purple Rain is my favorite song.
Love Purple Rain. Love the music. I was in those back in the day, early days, right, of YouTube and whatever. I even forget some of the platforms where it was. We were in these Prince groups where they used to share bootleg tapes of Prince, and then you could buy bootleg CDs. So I still have some downstairs.
Napster.
Where they would, you know, songs that you had never heard or whatever. Love Prince. What I loved about Prince was he would do a concert, whole concert, long, everything left on the stage. And then he would go to the after party, and the guys would say, where's the after party going to be at? And Prince would go to the after party, and he'd play at the after party. And now at the after party, that's where he might not be playing his songs. He plays some Bob Dylan and classic rock and Eric Clapton and Eagles. And, you know, he would play all different kinds of music. He was a musician. The guy was so damn good on every instrument. It was just, I cried when he passed because I was like, man, we are losing a serious talent. I love Prince, my favorite.
See, when you look at Prince or you look at, I'll put Prince, Elton John, you take people like that, Eric Clapton, Hendrix, they were students of music.
Right.
They weren't just a musician. They were students of music. And you take the best cigar blender and you take them and put them in music. That's who they are. They live.
Oh, yeah.
Freddie Mercury, student
Freddie
of
Mercury.
music.
Love Freddie Mercury.
Love Freddie Mercury. That's my mama's favorite person. And
love Freddie Mercury.
You know, Vince
There
Gill.
will never be another voice like Freddie Mercury ever.
And when you talk about the talent, and not only so, a lot of these days musicians kind of stick to a genre. People like Clapton, Mercury, Prince, they can play anything. You can see Prince and he'd play jazz. I love he's playing jazz. It's like, oh my God, this is good. And play good. When Prince did that, while my guitar gently weeps, I watched that video over and over and over again. Oh my God, he would, and just effortless. I tell you, I suck at the guitar. I have a guitar, I play. I'll tell you a funny story. So I have a couple of guitars, and my wife and I had been married for, maybe 13, 14 years at this time. So I picked it up and I was playing something. She says, how come all this time I didn't know you know how to play the guitar? I said, I suck at it, but I know how to play a few chords, so I'm good.
There you go. All right. So question number 4. Got to leave cigars outside of it. So LeeMack wakes up middle of the night. What's LeeMack's favorite guilty pleasure? Is he turning on the TV, turning on music, going to the refrigerator? What's his favorite guilty pleasure?
Yeah, I like documentaries. So I'll watch documentaries. I
The
love
last
the
good one that you watched.
I like watching I'm gonna call them the cocaine diaries and stuff like that. I like watching stories about the CIA and how crack was introduced into LA and Freeway Ricky Ross and dude who went through the little hole, Joaquin, what the hell was his name? The coke guy. He broke out of jail and went through the little hole in his cell and all that stuff. I love all that stuff. The lady who was the queen of cocaine. I love all that cocaine stuff. I do. At Miami days, I used to love watching Miami Vice. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Say Rick James. I love Rick James, another great musician.
Rick James, bitch.
Yeah, man. That whole 80s thing with the crack and the cocaine. I love all that stuff. I like Pusha T. He does all that cocaine rap. I love all that shit, man. I do. I remember I was in county college at the one time. So we had one guy. He was a real burnout. And I remember the first time he said, look, man, they got this new kind of cocaine and you could smoke it. The first time I ever heard about crack. And he was just telling the joys of crack, That was like, oh, okay.
I will say that one of the first logos that we created for this podcast was the Miami Vice
there
version.
You go, Miami Vice.
Yep. It was the Miami Vice because that's where the original colors, when I floated it through Mick, and you can look at behind us both, it's the Miami Vice colors. And he's like, what colors do you want to use? I said, I want to use some Miami blue. I want to use some neon green. I want to use some bright purple because bright purple is my favorite color. So we went up with the Miami Vice.
Yeah, LeeMack, we'll make you a resident member of the Real Smoke Patreon family. If you show up in Memphis, man, I got you with some good stickers, man. We'll put them back on the back wall behind you.
All right, yes, sir. We got room back here. I get hate sometimes for my Biden Harris sticker that's up top, right? The people say, "Oh, you voted for." I had a guy say, "Oh, you got Biden Harris. I'm out. I can't watch that." I was going, "Well, whatever." That's who I voted for, and that's who I was supporting. But we don't get into politics with cigars. But
nope.
it's
we
like,
definitely
listen,
don't.
I voted for Donald Trump
do
too, so my family hates me sometimes. They're like, "Well, it's all your fault."
Yeah, I don't think there's any winning sometimes in politics. That's why we don't talk about it here. We don't bring it in, man. It's definitely not.
That's
part
because
of it.
90% of people are 100%. 90% of the people are 100% already made up in their mind. So if you're going to talk about it, you're going to end up in an argument. Most people don't want to have a healthy discussion. So why take something that we enjoy, like cigars, whiskey, or whatever, and ruin the experience?
Yeah, and it's like even now in the current administration, right? There's a lot of stuff I go, this shit is all fucked up. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's fucked up. But then some stuff I go, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how this pans out because it might end up being good. I don't know. We're going to see. You got to be open.
LeeMack's definitely one of the smartest guys I ever met. No,
I don't know about that.
My brother-in-law, one of my favorite, I'm getting way off track, but my brother-in-law, one of my favorite humans in the world, we do not talk politics because we're opposite ends of the spectrum.
That's my daughter and I, my oldest.
However, we found very common ground over bourbon and cigars, and we don't talk politics. And he's one of my favorite humans in this earth, and it should never divide us. It's one of those things that we just don't bring up on this show because we don't want it to be a divider. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we need to find that common ground and stand on it hard.
Yep. And it can divide people. So one of those students that I was talking about at the job, who is my cousin, another one. She hadn't spoke to her father for months. And the reason why they hadn't spoke, it was because of politics, And I had a conversation with her and I said, listen, regardless of politics, that's still your father. right? That's still the guy that cleaned your dirty diapers and, kissed your boo-boo and, stood behind you and watched you as you went through college and, became a woman or whatever. You can't let this guy that's in the office separate you from your father because your father loves you. So when we left, she looked at me. I was like, call your father.
Call you daddy. Come on.
Yeah, call him.
So Hammer real quick says, best thing about politics, nothing. Best thing about Bourbon, everything. Hammer, you're a wise man. You're a wise man. Mick, question number 5.
Question number 5. What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Weirdest thing that I've ever eaten. I've eaten a lot of everything. Do I call any of it weird? Weirdest thing that I've ever eaten. I don't know. Maybe octopus, maybe. But I like it. So,
I was about to say, I liked octopus.
I like it too. You say weird, like I've eaten octopus.
So have you got an undercooked? Have you eaten
rattlesnake? And
have you eaten an undercooked octopus before?
No.
Okay, so if you eat an undercooked octopus, it starts out like this, and it ends up like this. It's a freaking tennis ball in the size of your mouth. I do not know how it expands, but it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't know about it. But I'll tell you the one thing that's kind of weird that I've yet to delve into is soft shell crabs. I love crabs. Love blue crabs. I eat the hell out of them. But soft shells, I don't know.
Blue crab, snow crab, or king crab?
Blue
Which one do you like best?
I'm not a snow crab, king crab guy. I think I don't know. I'm a blue crab dude.
Don't like the texture or don't like the sweetness?
They're just boring to me. It's just you crack it. It's just all of this meat and you dip it in the butter. And you just dripping butter. It's like, it's nothing to it to me.
So,
but
do you like your blue crab like breaded and stuff like that, where you scoop it out and eat it? Okay.
Hold on, flag on the play.
Oh yeah, I'm in on this.
So I live in Maryland. In Maryland, they steam crabs, right? I come from New Jersey. In New Jersey, we boil our crabs. You got like a crab boil, right? So I lived here for years. I ate steamed crabs. I would get the live ones. I learned how to steam them. One day I decided, you know what? I'm going to do the boiled crab. Got the water like my daddy used to do. You put the beer in there, cheap beer, garlic and onions and spice and lemons. Put the crabs in. I was like, I don't know what the hell I was doing in this other time. This is the way to eat crabs. I probably have eaten 4 or 5 dozen this season. Our season starts late in Maryland, but I've eaten a bunch of crabs. My wife says she eats crabs. She eats 3 or 4 and is like, okay, what are we eating for dinner? I'm like, oh, this is dinner, So I eat the rest of the dozen,
So what do you think about mud bugs?
Oh, I eat them too. I like them too.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I say, I've been around the world and I've eaten a lot of local food. When I go around the world, different places, I want to eat the local food, whatever it is. I love it. I'm a foodie,
What was the Memphis comment? Can you back up on that one? Memphis beer or something? I missed that. Who is this guy? Why does everybody have a different name?
I said it. Memphis beer lover.
Oh wow. Let's see. Right there, Hammer says, "Thank you, Memphis beer drinkers in the house." Hammer, are you from Memphis?
Who the hell is that? Like everybody has a different name on all these different platforms. I have no idea who this is, but hey, cheers. I don't know.
Hammer Hour, let us know. Are you a Memphis guy? Because if you are, so is somebody else in here.
Shout out to the Memphis beer lovers.
Hell yeah!
All right, so Uncle LeeMack, question number 6: what is the one thing in your life you're most proud of?
My children.
Nice.
My children. I got 3 of them. I'm proud of them all.
Youngest to oldest? What ages you got right now?
My youngest is, 32, 33, something like that. She was born in 94. Uh, that's my baby
Brag.
girl. My son, I think he's 35, and my oldest daughter is 38, 39. So they are. My daughter is my only biological child, my youngest. My other children came along with the wives. So I'm proud of all of my kids, and I'm proud of my grandkids as well.
Hey,
So
can't knock
they're
that
10
one. The
10 and
day I
12.
got the day that I got married, I had 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The day I got married, I had a 6-month-old, an 8-year-old, and a 10 or 11-year-old, who are
Yeah.
now 13, 21, and 23.
Yeah,
We don't
kids.
use the word step kid in this house.
No,
They're my
me either.
kids.
Yeah, my children are my children. I love them. I
Uh,
talked earlier about my son and his, kids and, the wife and whatever. And, he, got in some trouble, got himself together. He owns a successful line of barbershops. He's a barber. My oldest daughter is a nurse. My baby girl is a athletic trainer. They all do well. And I say they do well because they don't call me and ask me for money. So. I've got a lunch date. I got to get together with my oldest daughter. I said, we're going to go out to lunch, just me and you, and hang out and do whatever. And you know what? The blended families are like a beautiful thing, right?
100%.
So, yeah, we went to my granddaughter's birthday party. So my oldest daughter, her father was there. My granddaughter, it's funny, her father wasn't there, but the father's girlfriend was there with his 2 daughters and whatever. So it's it's just all family. You know what I mean? My daughter's new boyfriend was there, and his mother was there, his niece. I met his mother. She's a great lady. I love her. I was like, we got to get together and hang out some more because I like you. You're a nice person,
So going back into that, it's one of those things where first time being married, my wife, of course, was married before, and had 3 kids. And I remember one of my daughters not too long ago saying, what was the hardest part and easiest part? I said, the hardest part was when I had to realize you growing up and you started, acting, that I wasn't your dad.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
And they said, okay, what was the easiest part? The easiest part was falling in love with you.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
100%. The easiest part was falling in love with you. Because
I like that.
there's not a day in the world that I will ever call you my stepdaughter, my stepson.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you may say this is my stepdad, whatever, you're mine. I have raised you 90% of your life. So the hardest part was realizing when I heard you say you're not my dad.
Yeah.
The easiest part was realizing I love you. So being that bonus dad, one of the best days of my life ever.
Oh, it's a wonderful thing. My son, his father wasn't around. Then he kind of came around later years. Same thing with my daughter. He wasn't around. He kind of come around now or whatever. So, he and I are cool. She got 2 different fathers and we are different, and she knows who she can count on for what. She knows which dad to go to for what. You know what I mean?
100%.
So
yep.
We
all serve a different role.
Yeah. The best thing is when your kids call you for advice. And one of the things that I do for advice is I tell them, all right, here's my opinion. My daughter my youngest called me the other day. She's looking to buy a house. All right, Dad, what do you think? Whatever. I give her my advice and I say, now you take what I gave you and you make your best decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I remember, growing up when they were growing up, when me and their mother got married, the oldest, who is now 23, but I think she was 13 at the time. And the conversation came up and said, I don't know what to call you.
Right.
I said, honey, I will never be your dad, but you can call me Papa all the time.
Right.
My name is Papa. I'm not their daddy. I was not their daddy. I'm their Papa. And I said, there's a distinction. He may be your dad, but I will always be your Papa.
Yep.
And it's one of the most beautiful things that you can, I will give all the credit in the world to whether you're a bonus mom or you're a bonus dad. If you are willing to walk into a relationship and take on the responsibility of being a mom or a dad that's not yours, if you're willing to do that, you're the best parent in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay,
Because the
we
kids
jumped
don't have
that
a
one.
voice in the issue, you know?
No. All right, Mick, jump into it. Sorry, we went off the rails.
Nope, I got two more things. One thing is I was best man at my at my best friend in high school's wedding, and he did the exact same thing as you, Charles. And I told him at the wedding, at my speech, that anybody can be a dad. It takes a real man to be a father. And
100%.
props to you, man. Props to you, man. And second thing is Frank, if you're still on here, Frank is the guy that did the collab with Soul and Spirits, that did the best fucking stout I've ever had in my entire life. It's my number one beer of the year right now. I'm also a beer guy. And Frank, if you're listening, me and Charles have been talking about wanting to do a cigar beer. So Frank,
Yes.
if you're listening,
we already got the band, we already got the label done.
Yeah, I would love to do a cigar beer. And Frank, hopefully you're a part of the Memphis TriStar Herf, the Western Tennessee Herf. We will talk then. But yes, Frank, thank you. Frank's a fucking brewing genius. So anyway,
Nice.
all right, back to it.
Question number 7.
We'll have to do this again, and we'll have to do beer. Shout out to my brother Cowboy. He poured out this, told me, say, anybody had this Tonya beer from Nicaragua? I said, no, but let me go find it. So,
are you talking about Cowboy that does the cigar reviews?
Yes.
I love his cigar review. Sitting back in the lounge, music going. He's got to fight all the people that wants to sit down with him and talk. I love that.
Awesome.
Cowboy is a great guy. Got a chance to meet him in person. He's a great guy.
Awesome.
All right, Mick, let's get this one.
Question number 7. If you could choose a superpower, what would it be and why?
Ooh. I think if I could choose a superpower, my superpower would be to fix things that I see that are wrong. So situations that I see are wrong, if I had the opportunity to do that, it would be wrong. I see somebody that's struggling with addiction, I could take their addiction away. I see somebody that's struggling with food challenges at home, I could, boom, give them the opportunity to, make things better. I would love that superpower.
All right, so question number 8. When it comes to the industry, whether it's cigar reviews or whether it's trying to break into the YouTube entertainment or whether it's to break into any entertainment or any job, what advice would you give somebody who's just looking to break out into their field?
Ooh. So I'll give you the advice that I give my students and the trucking students. I tell them, here's the key to success in this industry. 1, be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. 2, show up on time, get where you're supposed to be when you get there, be there on time. And 3, shut the fuck up and listen.
Yes.
So even in starting the cigar things, right, you got to learn to read the room, right? Just start. That's the same thing I told you guys. Like, just start your podcast. Just start. That's the hardest part, is to start. And then build it, find out what you do, learn from your mistakes. You might do something, you'd be like, wow, that wasn't a great show or a great idea. That's cool. Don't beat yourself up. Move on. Then you move on to the men's health thing and you say, that was great. Cool. Let's find the next thing that's like that. So that's my advice.
It's great advice, man. It's great advice. Yeah, we all learn from our mistakes, and we got to find a way to move on. All right, so question number 9.
All right, we're going to get to number 10. We're going to get there. I'm stretching it out, but go ahead.
We're almost there, brother. All right, so question number 9. If you could have a cigar with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
It would probably be oh man,
Prince.
I'm blanking on Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, because she led people out of slavery, but not only did she get herself out of slavery, then she went back and she brought more people out, and she went back. I don't know how many trips she made, but that's the case of what I say. If you can help somebody, don't just get it for yourself. Go back and help somebody else to get it. And I would love to sit down with Harriet and talk to her and say, like, you know, why did you do that? You were free. You made it to the North. Why did you go back south and risk it all for, you know, other people? Why did you do that? But I kind of know why she did that.
She would say the same. She would say the same thing that you've said all night tonight. For love.
Love, right?
Love.
It's awesome.
Right.
Man.
All right. So my last question is: through your entire life experience, whether it's been your, you know, you talk about your mom on the podcast, you talk about your grandma on the podcast, or on your shows, and you talk about the friends that you've met along the way. When you talk about all these people, what is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
Oh, I got that already. My grandmother, she said, baby, be nice to people. She said, because one day you might get old and you might need a drink of water. That's a deep statement.
Yeah, it is.
You might not understand it. And I didn't understand it when I was young. But I understand that. She said, be nice to people, because one day you might get old and all you want is a drink of water and you need somebody to come bring you a glass of water. My grandmother was a great lady. I love.
Brother, as somebody who spent a year and a half, 2 years, right at 2 years, homeless, living in the back of his car, somebody who didn't have a dollar to his name or a safe place to eat or sleep. Someday you may need just a drink of water. You may need a slice of bread. You may need a pillow. And man, yeah, that 100%, that's
the deepest statement we've ever gotten, man. That's amazing.
That hits me hard right there.
My grandmother was a great lady, and she made a lot out of a little bit of nothing. And we would have dinners at my grandmother's house, and everybody would come, and the house would be so full of people, and everybody got to eat. And we talked and we laughed and we had a good time. My grandmother never had a lot of money, you know, but she always made you feel welcome. I could always go to my grandmother's house and get something to eat. Always. She used to have a saying. Her saying was, it's nice to be nice. I miss her more than anybody could know. I love my grandmother.
My grandmother was the rock that held our family together. We would go to Atlanta and we would all go to her house, and it would be all my uncles, my aunts, my cousins. And we would, if it was morning time, she was at the kitchen, gravy, biscuits, sausage. If it was in the evening time, it was fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, soup beans. And we were all sitting there. The best times in my life was watching her cook for everybody in our family, because she could cook. Yeah. She didn't have no recipes. No. She know how to put it together and make that food taste good. I already know. She was just throwing shit. Yeah, man. My grandmother is my hero.
That's the thing that we're missing now. It's like, you know, the grandmothers are so young, they're so busy now trying to get out in the club and live their life and whatever. It's just, we used to call them big mama. It's like we don't have big mamas anymore. Big mamas was the one that helped shape us. It's like if you got into trouble with your parents, you could go to Big Mama. Big Mama would listen, but she wasn't always going to agree with you, and she would tell you when you was wrong. You know,
in the South, we always called them our mimis. That was my mimi. Yeah, I get
that's
that.
good. That's a good question, man. That was a good number 10, man.
So the only thing I have left to ask is, and I forgot later, one of them was, and I know I've kept you on here longer than normal.
No, it's all good, brother.
You've got your meet in the middle on every Sunday.
Correct.
I've never heard how that got started. It is one of, if not the longest cigar YouTube shows in existence. How did the meet in the middle get started, and who are your people that's on there with you? And let people know where to find it.
So we are doing Sunday shows on Substack. So if you go to the iRobusto channel, like iPhone iRobusto, there's a Substack, and that's where we are on Sunday. We had some issues with our channel on YouTube. It got deleted. We were doing Facebook, but now we're on Substack. So Substack seems to be a place where you can be a little free. You don't have to worry about some of the other restrictions. But I was doing cigar reviews, and I guess Mark was watching my channel. And he reached out to me one day and said, hey, listen, what do you think about starting this YouTube thing? I got this trademark or whatever on this iRobusto. I want to do a cigar show or whatever. And I told him no. I was like, that's boring. Who wants to see two guys talking about cigars? That's boring. So whatever. So then he kept at me, whatever. And then he said, well, my wife smokes cigars too. I said, that's what we need. We need a woman. So if your wife is willing to do the show with us, let's try it and see what happens. And that was it. So he said, well, we need a song. We need a theme song or something. I said, well, I'm a musician. I don't really sing, but let me see what I could do and put together a song for the Meet in the Middle show. So I went up into my little studio and did a little something. We came up with the song, and that was it. So we literally every week, almost without fail, did the show. And then we end up getting some sponsors. Mark is a good person to talk to people and get deals or whatever. And, one of our first sponsors was 1502. And they said, well, we'll do the sponsorship. We'll send you cigars in kind. So we had all kind of stuff with cigars. And they sent us boxes and boxes and boxes of cigars. And we used to give cigars away. And that was our hook to get people to watch. Hey, we're giving away free cigars. People watch if you give away free stuff. And it just kind of started from there. And, we've gone through different sponsors. We've had Black Lion and State Line. We had Famous Smoke for a while. Shout out to Gary over Famous Smoke. And it's just kind of been something that goes along. There was a period of time when we bought our own cigars and kept doing the show. So it's like, all right, and we don't have a sponsor. We'll just buy it and keep smoking. And that's what we've been doing. It's been 10, 11 years now.
So my last question is, you always end your show with the same line.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter whether you tell yourself it's a truth or a lie, you're going to have a great day. How did that come up?
That came from the divorce. That came from the divorce. Having a great day. So then I figured I'd share it with other people. Hey, listen, I'm having a great day. Damn truck is leaking oil. I just fixed it. It's going to cost me a lot of money. I'm still having a great day. I'm coming out of Delaware. Truck breaks down. I got to pay to have this shit towed back. It's still a great day. The tow truck driver said, I can't tow your trailer across state lines. We're going to have to go across someplace and drop it off. But the driver said, I'll take it where you want it to go. It's a great day. The driver said, we can leave the trailer in the truck stop and go in there and talk to the people, tell them we left it there. It's a great day. I called the guy who parks his truck next to me and said, Mark, I need a favor. Can you go get my trailer and bring it back to the yard? He said, sure, no problem. It's a great day. It's always a great day. The truck was broke down for 6-8 months during COVID. It was $13,000 to fix it. It's still a great day. So it's all how you look at it. Shit goes wrong. Shit gonna go wrong for all of us. You know, and I don't want anybody to think that my life is perfect and I got everything figured out. I don't. I got a lot of shit not figured out. Right now, the mechanic is on his way to the yard tomorrow, Saturday, to look at this oil that's leaking everywhere. Probably got a main seal or something. You got to pull the transmission out and do that, fix that. It's still a great day. I don't know how much it's going to cost to fix. Great day. Truck ain't running. Still a great day. Maybe I'll get back to it. It's a great day. My new phone don't have a plug, so I can put my stereo in and listen to my speakers booming in the trunk. It's still a great day. I got to figure out how to do Bluetooth. So it's
Money Matt says, when you wake up in the morning, your subconscious your subconscious mind doesn't know whether it's a truth or a lie, so you might as well tell it a damn good lie.
And you got to do that first thing in the morning. And why you don't do it? Why you do it in the first thing in the morning? You might get out of bed and stub your foot on the bed, on the corner of the bed, and say, "Shit, ow, terrible fucking day." I say you get back in bed and say, "You know what? It's going to be a great day," and start over.
Man, I don't even know how to follow that up. It's amazing. It's perfect. Oh, yeah.
So I just want to say, again, you know, it was one of my things that I wanted to get you on here. I told you from day one I wanted to get you on here. Absolutely love the fact that you know, got on here, and you are 100% who you are on the phone when you're on your when you're on your channel and when you're on here. There's no difference. So the only other thing that I don't have is getting to meet you in person, but I will say that's going to happen. So it's got to happen.
Get that together.
So, but I want to thank you so much for jumping on here and being willing to do this with us. We went a whole lot longer than what we thought, but at the same time, one thing that I love about what you do on your channel is that you're willing to tell stories. I can't stop you from telling stories, because that's what
stop the old guy.
brother, that is what drew me into you, is when you tell stories. So I'm just sitting back here listening as one, as a fan, as somebody, and two, as somebody who respects what you do and everything that you say. So I want to thank you from me. I want to thank you for jumping on here with us.
Listen, I want to thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it. The fact that anybody wants to listen to me and hear what I got to say, I appreciate that. And I also want to say that, again, that I'm proud of you guys of what you're doing. You're doing what you're doing. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the fame and the fortune, because all of that'll come. You know, I'll see you guys at the trade show sometime, and, you know, you'll do your thing. You do it how you do it. And that's what I told you in the beginning, Charles. Do your thing. Y'all figure out how you want to do it and do it your way. And if you build it, they will come. If they don't come, so what? You know why you started the channel. You know why you started the podcast. It's a cigar. I got a sign up here that says, when you feel like quitting, remember why you started.
100%.
Yeah, I'm just going to tag on the end here, man. Charles pretty much said it all. I know Charles has talked to you personally, but, man, I feel like I've known you forever, just in the moments we've shared tonight. And we from minute one, we've said we want to do this for us and just have fun because we care about each other. You know what I mean? And hopefully we can bring some people to the forefront and some brands that we love and some cigars that we love and have fun with it. And man, that's what you've done since day one, and I appreciate it, man. Hopefully we can meet up soon, and we appreciate everything you've done. I also love your content, man, and everything you've done. You've paved the way for guys like us, and we're having fun with it, and I appreciate you, man.
Now, listen, I'm streaming this on my YouTube channel and on Instagram. I got a lot of folks over there watching. So for the people that might not be familiar with you, tell them where they can find your channel and tell them when you do your live shows.
All right. So If you want to check us out on Instagram, we are. You can find us on Instagram at _pod. That's our new channel. If you want to find us on YouTube, just look up Real Smoke Podcast. On Facebook, we are Real Smoke Podcast, I do believe. But just check us out on all of those. Want to give a great shout out to Money Matt. I mean, his comment touches us really big because he's one of your guys and he's enjoying what we're doing. He says, great damn show, Mick and Charles. Bro, we absolutely love that one. And he says, I'll definitely be checking y'all out more often. Hope you do. And one of the things that we like to tell all the people who do listen to us, I mean, just like a cigar review, do not blow smoke up our ass. If there's something that we're doing that you don't like, post in the comments. Let us know. Because we cannot change and be better without the comments from you guys. So make sure you do that one. So, Uncle Lee, do us a favor. As you just said, for us, tell everybody where they can find you.
LeeMack912 all over the place. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My Facebook, I got a channel over there, but most of it's LeeMack912 Cigar Life or something like that. Threads, X, TikTok. I'm on the TikToks, so I like TikTok so far. I'm all over Instagram, YouTube. So my YouTube channel is slowly coming back. I got a couple of strikes on the channel, so I have to be a little careful of what goes over there on YouTube. So I'll probably put this video on private afterwards so they don't smack me until after August 22nd, and then I'll be good. We can put it back up.
Just share it over to your Rumble page.
And Rumble. And don't forget Rumble. That's right. All of my stuff is on Rumble. All of my videos, my old videos are on Rumble. So if you want to check out some of that classic vintage LeeMack, it's over there on Rumble. You want to see me with the spackle and the drywall.
Guys, go do that. 100%.
That's over there on Rumble.
Go check out some of the new stuff or some of the old stuff. It's a great watch. So I'm going to let you close out you. Usually we do the whole close out the person, but there's no other person that can close out a LeeMack interview than the way that LeeMack does it. So when you get done, we'll go ahead and let you exit out. But Uncle Lee, close us out.
All right. I'm going to tell you, like I tell you all the time on the end of my videos, when you wake up in the morning, you got to tell yourself, today is going to be another great day. Why you got to do that, LeeMack912? Why? Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. So you might as well tell it a good damn lie. So you tell it a good lie and going on out there and have you a great day, no matter what happens. Problems? Oh, you're going to have some problems. But you got to remember that you are the best person in the world at being you, and you are the best person in the world to solve your problems. You got all of the answers up here. You got the answers up here. So don't worry about what other people say about you. They're going to talk about you. They're going to talk about you bad. They talked about Jesus, and he was only trying to do some good stuff. So don't worry about that. We are much less than he is. So therefore, don't worry about it. You have yourself a great day. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody for watching, everybody that came over. And we're going to go on and get ready for another great day tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for being on here. Absolutely loved it.
Much love, man. Thank you.
Great time, brother.
Thanks. Have a great night.
See you soon, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you got to say about that one, but I will say, like I always say, episode number 39 is in the books, and we just had another great interview with the one and only LeeMack912. And I was telling you from day one that this interview would not disappoint. And
we're so blessed,
bam.
man. We are so blessed. So blessed.
There's only been 2 times. And I mean, we're new, a year in.
Yeah.
39 episodes.
Yeah.
There's only been 2 times I brought to tears. We talked with Pete Johnson, Tatawahe. I think it was his father passed same time mine did. My mom passed. We basically broke down in the middle of an episode.
Yeah.
And then LeeMack talking about Memo. Oh my God. I just lost my shit. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking I'm not going to start bawling like a kid. And here I am, just like I got tears running down my eyes because all I can think about is my Mimi. So,
Yeah,
holy shit.
both times I welled up a little bit, man, and it was definitely touching tonight, man. I feel like we touched a spot with him, and he definitely touched a spot with our show. You know, I mean, like we've really tried to be real on this show and just have real conversations, and I feel like tonight we definitely hit the spot, man. It was awesome.
Money Matt's on here, and he says, absolutely fantastic, guys. I like your vibes, Mick and Charles. Bro, I mean, we are being us. I mean, we're not. I mean, if you meet us at a cigar lounge, this is who we are. We're
us.
just two guys that like to enjoy cigars and have good conversation with good people. And I mean, he also says family is key. So we have a couple of things left on here. We do have cigar review to do. We do have. We are giving away 2 prizes from Cigar Vault Oakdale, 2 $25 gift cards. Type in on YouTube, Rumble, or Facebook. Type in hashtag RealSmoke. We're giving away 2 $25 gift cards from Beard Apothecary. We do have some cigar news, some cigar and whiskey news, and we do have some Meanwhile in Memphis. I know it's going a little long. We will try to read through this stuff kind of quickly and try to get you guys out of here. But shit, we still have a crap ton of people on here still listening and watching, and you do not know quick. How much that means to us. So we're going to try to do that for you. So that being said, LeeMack jumps on here and says, appreciate everyone for tuning in. Brother's a real guy.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
Holy.
Yeah.
Still touching me. All right. So we the next thing that we have to do is our cigar review, and that cigar review is going to be done by Cigar Army. By the way, huge thanks. We have been talking about for the last month and a half about the event that Cigar Army had. They raised a good ton of money, and it's back, and it's going to be doubled by the Toys for Dots Foundation.
Amazing.
They had a great event. It worked out wonderful. All of you who listened and signed up and bought tickets and joined in, we greatly appreciate it. I mean, from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for all that you do. So we're going to roll the normal ad for Cigar Army. So if you're interested, take a check out this.
Tonight's cigar review is proudly sponsored by Cigar Army. The Cigar Army is a community brought together by their shared love of cigars, but bonded by something much deeper, their mission to give back to those in need. Through Operation Give Back, they honor the courage and dedication of our military and first responders, both active and retired. Their bravery and selflessness make the freedoms we enjoy possible, including this very moment to sit here, share a cigar, and connect with our Real Smoke audience. Every puff carries a story. Every draw is a tribute to their sacrifices. This isn't just about cigars, it's about gratitude, about compassion, and about giving back to the heroes who shaped our lives. Join them in the mission to make a difference, one cigar at a time. Check them out on Instagram at Cigar Army 3 or search Cigar Army on Facebook. Together, we can turn our passion into purpose.
Again, huge thanks to everybody over at Cigar Army. We absolutely love everything you guys are doing and everything that you are doing for the community, not only for the cigar community, but for every community in your area that you work with. So thanks so much.
Before I get into my cigar review tonight, I got to say again, thanks to LeeMack. It definitely was a touching interview, and it was just one of those nights that I won't forget. Like it was awesome.
It was a great night.
Yeah, great night. All right, so cigar review. Tonight we reviewed the Haze Gray Brotherhood. Aroma from the body. I got hay, barnyard, light chocolate. Aroma from the foot. I got barnyard, light chocolate, a little bit oaky. Taste from the cold draw. I got cocoa puffs. And like an oaky, sawdusty kind of thing. It was definitely oaky. First third notes: dark chocolate, toast, baking spices, charred wood, light raisins / dark fruits. The retro, I got light black pepper and baking spices. Second third, I got cocoa, toast, baking spices, charred wood, a little bit of fig Newton. Retro, I got natural tobacco sweetness, baking spices, light black pepper. The final third notes, I got more of an Oreo because it was still that cocoa flavor, but it had that creaminess to it. So it was kind of like an Oreo. It was still bready, baking spices, charred wood, oaky, still dark fruits in there. The retro, I got natural sweetness, baking spices, and again, light black pepper. Pre-light experience, 18 out of 20. Flavor enjoyment, 14 out of 15. Construction characteristics, 25 out of 30. Smoke production and final thoughts, 31 out of 35. I gave this, before I get my final score, the first third, I did have some burn issues. It straightened up after that. Like the first third, it definitely was not burning correctly. I had a few touch-ups, and it was a little wonky. Definitely got better second and third. And there wasn't many transitions on this, but it was a consistent, solid smoke. I gave this a total of an 88.
All right, so 88. Let's see, doing some math really quick. Give me just a second. All right, so 88 from you. That'll work. So let me go into mine really quickly. So aroma off the body, you got barnyard and raisin. That's what I get. Aroma off the foot, sweet tobacco and raisin. Taste off the cold draw, sweet tobacco. So, one of the things that I do enjoy when watching LeeMack, he'll take that cold draw and he'll be like, I get tobacco. Everybody gets tobacco. It's tobacco. I get tobacco. That's what I got. Sweet tobacco. So on the light, earth, black pepper, slight woody note into the first third. Notes of earth, black pepper with a slight sweetness. The retro brings out the black pepper, dried fruit, and a slight chocolate and caramel. Great draw, wavy burn that needed a slight touch up towards the middle of the third. Flaky ash, smoke is thick and full, and chewy, medium plus strength. Into the second third, smoke on the palate, I get, or notes on the palate, I get a charred oak, a slight vanilla. Into the retro, for me, is where all the flavors live. To me, on the retro in this cigar, on the palate, the cigar was pretty much just like a pretty much straight train. On the retro is where I got everything on this one. So if you cannot retro this cigar, you need to. So dark chocolate, a bready note, white pepper, and the first time that I've ever got the thought, it's a Nilla wafer. So if you live in the South, you like, banana pudding, Nilla wafer. That's what I was getting through the whole second third on this one. So it was a great draw, still wavy burn line, still had to do a correction. Ash is still the same, really flaky. The finish leaves a sweet note on your mouth. It's still that vanilla wafer, vanilla cookie. In the final thirds, lots of black pepper, oak, spice on the tongue. That's where I got a lot of the spice. There was a lot of red spice through the nostrils, in the sinus. My tongue was on fire through the last third. Retro is black pepper, oak, dark chocolate. Not much of a sweet note left. Smoke and ash still the same. Burn has gotten a little bit better, but still kind of wonky. Strength is a full minus. So if you go into it, I gave it a pre-light experience of an 18 out of 20. Flavor enjoyment, I gave it a 14 out of 15. Smoke construction and characteristics. Construction, 8 out of 10. Draw, 10 out of 10. Draw was perfect. Could not ask for a better drawing cigar. An 8 out of 10 on the burn. Gave it a 26 out of 30. Smoke production and final thoughts. I gave it a 29 out of 35. That leaves me with an 87. So if you take your 88, my 87, you do some math, it becomes an 87.5. We round up. It goes to your score. The Real Smoke Podcast gives the Haze Gray Brotherhood an 88 for our review. So great job. That's actually just one. Is it one same score or 1 point from their other one? It's right there.
Now the Patriot was higher.
Okay.
Yeah, the Patriot I think was like a 90 something. But yeah, I will say I'm starting to feel like I actually kind of know what I'm doing. You are still way better at me with flavor profiles, but like we pretty much picked up the same thing, and very close on the score. So I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
So Patriot scored a 90,
score.
and this one was an 88. So we raved on the Patriot. So I mean,
Patriot.
So great job, Haze Gray. Love it. Again, doing this one. Got to have some Haze Gray on here. So love what you guys are doing. So really quickly, everybody, the comments have freaking blown up. Holy crap. I've heard Haze Gray and Family by Loyalty both say that the blend from the Retro Hell smoker mostly. Yeah, I mean, Retro Hell is where I found it. A lot of the flavors. Josephus also says, I like the story behind the PR 49 from Katie Cigars. My dad was born in 48.
Same.
Love that. I think I found y'all, Money Mac. There we go. What are baking spices? So when I think of baking spices, I think of fall. I think of pumpkin pie. I think of
cinnamon, nutmeg,
nutmeg, clove. Yeah. LeeMack Marathon. Yeah, it turned into a LeeMack Marathon, 100%.
It could be.
Are y'all on Patreon? Money Matt, yes, we are on Patreon. If you go to our Instagram page, go check out the link tree on there. We are on Patreon. We have a couple of different things. We're going to revamp it to make it better to where we can actually give you guys more. So go join us on Patreon. We would absolutely love it. Josephus, Real Smoke Podcast, the reason Thursdays are better than Fridays. 100%. I 100% agree with that one.
That's it. That's the best comment of the night. That's fucking awesome. Thank you, Josephus. We appreciate you, brother.
I'm going to make this hat right here. Real Smoke, making Thursdays great again. 100%. Smoking Psalms says, $4,500 raised. Well done, Frank. So $4,500 raised from Cigar Army. Josephus says, return to the Mac. I would agree. We need to get LeeMack on here another time. That would be great. Frank says $4,500. Thank you, everybody. LeeMack's on here says Cigar with Angels. Family is what it's all about. Facts.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go into this one. So our next one is going to be our prizes. We do have 2 Cigar Vault gift cards to give away. I will go ahead and start getting that information up. Make sure you type in hashtag RealSmoke to be able to get those. It applies to anybody, to the Cigar Vault. Go ahead and post that in right now. Mick, I will let you give the rules and stuff, and then I will give the names away who have already won. By the way, this is the last podcast for this month, so you guys will be able to win something if you've already won again here shortly. So Mick, go ahead and start doing that wonderful stuff. I will go ahead and get these guys set up.
All right, so real quickly, I had 7 questions going into tonight, and all 7 got asked without me asking them. Or got answered without me asking them. So it was a great interview. LeeMack, man, if you're still watching, brother, what a great night. So the rules for the giveaway, your name will be on this giveaway. If you punch in the hashtag, it will be on here, even if you don't see it scroll by. If you won in July for a certain vendor for that month, let's say Cigar Vault, because that's who we're giving away tonight. If you already won Cigar Vault for July, you are not going to win tonight. We're going to respin the wheel. I think that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. So if you've already won, we are only giving away Cigar Vault tonight. So if you have already won, which means Oksana, Greg, Angela Thompson, Rob, Mitch, and Pedro, all of you guys have already won for the month and for July. So we're going to spread the love, make sure everybody else gets some. So make sure you type those hashtags in there. If you don't see your name in the wheel, StreamYard has guaranteed us that your name is on there. You just did not see it, and we can't correct it. So we're going to go ahead and spin once again. Oksana, Greg, Angela Thompson, Rob, Mitch, and Pedro. You cannot win this week, but you can win next week. So let's go ahead and spin the thing. If you already see on here, it is episode 39 with Leander. Wow, it's the only one I posted Leander on there, but LeeMack912, and it's going to be hashtag Real Smoke, and we have excluded winners when doing multiple draws, which means, you can be picked again. So here we go. We have the entries. And the first one that's going to come up for the $25 gift card from Cigar Vault is going to be Maddie, the rookie rep. Now, remember, you have to be on here live to win this one. If you are not on here, you have about 30 seconds to post in the comments that you are here to be able to win this. If you are not here within whatever Mick says 30 seconds is, you don't win. And Maddie was on here quick. He says, heck yeah. So, Maddie, what I need you to do is send Mick your mailing name, address, phone number, and email address. Once again, your mailing name, address, phone number, and email to Mick, and he will get that sent out this week.
I will. I will say real quick that I'm so happy Maddie won, but it's so weird that we have like 30 new names that I've never seen, and they never win when we draw these names. It's so crazy.
Maddie said, I'm here, damn it. Yeah, he did.
Congrats.
All right, so we're going to give one more away, and I really hope it's to one of the people that's on here. And let's see. Spinning one more time. Here we go for Cigar Vault number 2. It is going to be Robert. Rob won, but Robert did not. So, Robert, if you're on here, you have about 30 seconds to put on here that you won, and you're going to win a $25 gift card to Beard Apothecary. Or not Beard Apothecary. Good God, I always do that. To Cigar Vault. So
we'll be hearing from Robert really soon.
Mick, it's up to you because
we'll be hearing from Robert really soon. And
if we don't, I will say this: if we don't hear from Robert,
from his
everybody that knows Robert. Oh yeah, America. Wait, he happens to say, "Rolling, rolling, rolling." Fred's here.
What's up, Fred?
So I'm just going to put on here XII Knives. By the way, anybody who is won that is considered Maddie, Robert, Oksana, Greg, Angela, Rob, Mitch, and Pedro. That's a lot of different winners. Starting next week, you are all welcome to apply again because you all are willing to win or able to win. So, Robert, do us a favor. You know the drill. Send Mick your mailing name, address, phone number, firstborn child, urine sample, blood sample, all that wonderful stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So congratulations to Maddie and congratulations to Robert on winning 2 $25 gift cards, one each. Don't think you're getting 2. It's not going to happen. One each, $25 gift cards to Cigar Vault. Congratulations. And let's get you back to the normal, good-looking people.
There we are.
Here we are.
There we are.
All right. So the next one that we have to do is some cigar news and whiskey news.
Okay.
And you said that was going to be brought to you by who?
I think it's brought to me by Fred Durst.
Hey guys, this is Robert over at XII Knives, and I want to wish you a very happy Freedom Awareness Month from Middle Tennessee. And I want to tell you a little bit about the Bulldog cigar cutter. Ooh, pretty. Which I make in the shop right behind me. All my materials that I use are sourced right here in the United States of America. American made. America. I use 1095 hard carbon steel, purchased right here in the great United States. I do not use foreign materials in my products. You know who else doesn't use foreign materials in their products? People like Betsy Ross, George Washington, and Davy Crockett. They did not use foreign stuff in their products. So if you love America and American-made things, come check me out on Instagram. XII_knives_ on Instagram. That's 13 Knives on Instagram. I'm Fred Durst, and I approve this message. Keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
I still love how I had to put the thing on there that says, no, he's not.
Every week, you send out more than I do, but we're like, hey, send us a new video. We'll put something up. Robert, don't ever change that video. Like, just let it keep going.
Well, he's got to, because, it's awesome. You know, we're going into August. It's no longer July. So, Robert, you got to send us a new video.
You're right, but I still, okay, you can maybe change some stuff up, but like, it's phenomenal. You got to top that one, man. You got to top it.
He's got to do something. We already talked about him getting in touch with our guy from New Zealand and doing something with them. So we'll work on something. So we have 2 cigar news, a whiskey news. The whiskey news kind of touches me. I love that one. I don't know how you correctly say it. It's either Sinistro or Sinistro. But have you had anything like The Last Cowboy or anything like that from Sinistro?
Yeah, I've had The Last Cowboy.
Okay. So this one comes from Half Wheel. So this is Patrick over there. Says Sinistro ships The Last Cowboy Limited Edition 2025. Sinistro has begun shipping The Last Cowboy Limited Edition 2025, the third time the cigar has been released. This is the latest version of the 6.5 by 56 Toro Extra that uses a blend developed by Sinistro co-owner James, and that features a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro and a Mexican San Andreas binder. Shut up, John. And a filler that contains Dominican Piloto, Cubano Ligero, and Nicaraguan tobacco that of undisclosed varietal and origin. The cigars were made at the Alta's Cigar Factory in Tamboril, Dominican Republic. Each one comes with a long twist of tobacco on the head that resembles the fuse found on a dynamite firecracker. If you look at the design of what they did, it looks like a bundle of dynamite. It is so cool to look at. So if anybody's watching and you can pull up a picture of what this cigar band or this grouping looks like, it looks like a bundle of dynamite. I mean, even if I wasn't somebody who enjoyed some of their cigars, I would want to try this one just because I want the bundle now. The production is limited to 400 boxes, with each box containing 4 cigars packaged into 2 bundles of 7 that are wrapped to look like a bundle of dynamite. Pricing is set at $18.75 per cigar and $259.88 per box. And as I was reading this, it was like, you had me at the packaging, and then you threw out a $19 price point.
Yeah. I'm
not sure I want to do that one, because I want the bundle. I want the whole look of the dynamite. I want the experience. But then when you look at it and it's coming in at $250 plus a box, and it's almost $20 a box, because here in Tennessee, you're going to get your taxes on top of it. So each cigar is going to cost $20 and change, easy.
Yeah.
So not sure. There are 2 key differences with this year's release, says Coleman Fine, co-owner of Sinistro Cigars, via press release. The first, the cigars were aged for 8 months prior to packaging, enhancing their flavors complexity. Second, unlike previous years' unbended editions, the 2025 release will feature a custom band showcasing the Last Cowboy limited edition logo.
Okay.
So once again, it's one of those things where I kind of enjoy the cigar.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I'm willing to pay $20 for it. And it's not paying $20 for the cigar. You kind of want the whole look of the whole bundle. And when you
That's
see
right.
it, if you've actually seen it, you want that bundle because it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm not sure. Kind of would like to try it. Kind of don't want to spend the money on it.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like I've enjoyed their cigars in the past, but like you pretty much have to buy a whole pack to experience. Like, are they gonna cut one off for you? I mean, honestly, like, I mean, it's kind of weird.
So I don't know if the retailers are going to be selling it by the cigar or by the bundle. So I'm not sure. I'll be looking for it just to see. It's not really one of those. I mean, when I look at the packaging, it was one of those things when I first saw it, 100% going to try this one, saw the price tag on it, and just going by what previous experiences on the cigar. I mean, I'm not excited.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what happens because I kind of want to see it out in the public. Have you smoked anything from Protocol?
I have, yeah. They're actually, I think, from Pennsylvania area, aren't they?
I think so. Jennifer is excited about this one because one of her first things that she went into school for was crime scene investigation. So she just got her she just graduated last year from the Citadel Military Institute of South Carolina with a criminal justice law degree. So this one kind of is in her wheelhouse. She's like, okay, I got to try this one.
Okay.
So Protocol introduces the crime scene unit set for release, and this is coming from Cigar Coop. So William over at Cigar Coop posts on here. He says, the Protocol Crime Scene Unit. Protocol Cigars Crime Scene Unit, the long-awaited 6th edition to the core line, is finally set to hit stores. This release is special to the founder, Juan Cancel, in that the company's first Connecticut broadleaf release. Sounds like a lot of Connecticut broadleaf going out. Since day one, I wanted to release the cigar with Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, but was always told that the company our size would never get it. For years, it was denied to us. I finally decided to take matters into my own hands and try to secure some Connecticut broadleaf on my own. I tried every avenue possible until I decided to ask one of my mentors and dear friends in the cigar industry, Adele Fernandez. Thank you, Abdel Fernandez, for helping me make my dream come true. I am eternally grateful, commented Cancel in his press release. Crime Scene Unit consists of Protocol Cigars' law enforcement theme, paying homage to the men and women who work diligently in the Crime Scene Unit, or CSU. The Crime Scene Unit, CSU, is a specialized team of forensic experts who meticulously process and analyze crime scenes. They collect and preserve evidence, including fingerprints, DNA, and other physical materials that help investigators piece together the facts of a case and bring criminals to justice. In addition to the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, the Crime Scene Unit uses a Mexican San Andres Maduro binder, and fillers include Nicaraguan Criollo and Criollo fillers from Jalapa and Esteli. The cigar comes in one size, a 6.5 by 50 double Corona. Didn't we just talking about double Corona? So I might like that one. The Crime Scene Unit balances strength and finesse like seasoned investigators balance instinct and evidence. A cigar that delivers a profile that's creamy, chocolatey, and laced with what's enough grit to remind you of this isn't a joyride. It's a case. Added Master Blender Nectar Alfonso Sr. of Espinosa Premium Cigars. Initially, the company planned on releasing 300 10-count boxes, but due to production limitations, only 150 boxes will be available. It's uncertain whether additional production runs will be in the future. This is set to be released and on the shelves in August. There's no price, anything in this article. But if you go with anything that's being released right now, it's going to be in the $12 to $15 mark.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a bunch of their cigars in the past. Local shop in Pennsylvania that I lived real close to was Breaker Cigars, and they were one of the main retailers for Protocol. They have some good stuff for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it is now, but if you're in the Middle Tennessee area, if you go to Mission Cigars, they used to have a lot of Protocol stuff. So that's the first place I ever tried them. So last one, a little bit of whiskey news. This is a really heart-touching one. Texas Hill Country Distillery Garrison Brothers helps raise $100,000 for the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. And this is coming from Breaking Bourbon. So if a couple of weeks ago, Kerr County in Texas, just like what happened to us over here in East Tennessee, in my area, we were hit with a devastating flood that took out everything, completely wiped out towns and cities and caused a lot of havoc. Well, Kerr County in Texas got a lot of the same thing. They were devastated, and it went through the one camp that, unfortunately, there was a lot of lives lost from a lot of young ladies that were doing a church camp out that way. So our hearts go out to all of them. But Garrison Brothers is doing their best, which is a Texas company, is doing their best to help raise money for them. In a press release, what began as an annual Garrison Brothers Guadalupe bourbon release event became a rally for flood recovery. On Saturday, July 12th, Garrison Brothers Distillery hosted the Guadalupe Relief Day, dedicating $50 from each Guadalupe cask strength bottle sales, as well as profits from the Whiskey Shack and gift shop merchandise sold that day to help families and businesses devastated by the 4th of July weekend flash floods that swept through Kerr and Bandera and Gillespie counties. The Garrison Brothers team also established an online donation page to gather funds from those far and near that could not attend the event. Today, the distillery's 501c3 nonprofit Good Bourbon for a Good Cause delivered an initial $50,000 in contributes. These were generated by donations to the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill County's Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. In a show of local solidarity, Happy State Bank of Fredericksburg pledged to match that check dollar for dollar, instantly doubling the impact to $100,000. Texas looks after Texas, said Garrison Brothers co-founder Nancy Garrison. Our team quickly decided to earmark a $50 donation on every cask strength Guadalupe single barrel that we sold on July 12th, as well as donate 100% of our profits that day from the gift shop merchandise and the Whiskey Shack sales to help flood victims. Today's check and Happy State Bank's 100% match proves good bourbons really can change the world. On July 7th, Garrison Brothers has set up an online link to collect donations for flood victims, with the first $10,000 collected in donations matched by a private donor. The donation link for the Hill County Strong, established by the Garrison Brothers team, will stay live, collecting funds through October 1st. All funds raised will be donated to community foundations of the Texas Hill County's Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. In 2020, the co-founders Garrison Brothers established a Good Bourbon for a Good Cause, a 501c3 nonprofit that has raised over $2 million to date to help local causes in the community of Blanco and Gillespie counties of Texas. Causes that support veterans and their families, the hospitality community, and the other organizations that help support and restore beautiful Texas lands and landmarks. To make a donation or for more information, you can visit them at http://oneCAU.se/HCTXFLOOD. So you can actually go on Garrison Brothers and you can find out all that information. You can also go to anybody who's doing whiskey information and you can get that information. So good on a Texas company who is making sure that they step in and take care of the community that they live in.
That's a really good bourbon too. I mean, like,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and for them to step up like that is it tells you what their character's about. So yeah, support them, support the people around you.
So Lee Mack just posted in our private chat, said, "Alrighty, fellas, I'm ready to turn in. It was a great show. Thanks for having me. We'll have to do it again." 100% for Lee Mack. Absolutely love that one. A lot of comments still coming in, which is absolutely crazy. Garrison is good. Choose also like Balcones. Josephus says Lee Mack. He also, Lee Mack's on here. He says, "Please continue to support the fellas. Good work that they are doing in the cigar community."
Thanks.
So absolutely appreciate that one. So our last thing that we have on here is the one show, or the one part of the show that most people look forward to the most, and that is our Meanwhile in Memphis. But before we do that, let's say hi to the people of the cigar that we were smoking, as well the hat that I'm wearing. Let's talk to some Haze Gray cigars.
Every Haze Gray cigar is handcrafted with care, using only the finest tobacco sourced from around the world, with rich flavors and smooth draws that satisfy even the most discerning cigar aficionados. From careful selection of tobacco leaves to the final roll, we oversee every step to guarantee the best blends possible. Every Haze Gray cigar is rolled with pride and purpose. Each cigar represents a different chapter in our Haze Gray story, from smooth Connecticut finesse to dark richness of double enduring. There's a cigar that fits your moment.
And huge thanks to Haze Gray Cigar for supporting us, because we love supporting you. Are you ready for some Meanwhile in Memphis?
Let's go.
Meanwhile in Memphis, it's happening again. Meanwhile in Memphis, the sky turns wild. Stray gators and pools running free and wild. Some guys wearing mud boots with a suit on trial. Meanwhile in Memphis, let's stay here a while.
Hell
Meanwhile
yeah.
in Memphis. I love it, man.
What
We're
you
gonna
got
make that
for
go.
us tonight?
So I know this is totally weird for everyone who's listening, who has ever listened to Meanwhile in Memphis. There's 2 out of the 3 stories tonight are fairly positive. Fairly positive.
How'd that happen?
Well, I wasn't at my desk much this week, and I picked things that I thought would be great for the show. So here we go.
There you go.
So the first story tonight, I don't know if you heard about this, but Bearded Iris Brewing Company out of Nashville was just bought by Wiseacre out of Memphis. So I'm completely winging most of these stories, so bear with me tonight. So Bearded Iris, about 5 years ago, when I went to Nashville for the first time, 6 years ago, it's some of the best IPAs I've ever had. They have IPAs, they have sours, they have stouts, they have a lot of really good beers. And you know I'm a brew guy. Their beers on tap are top notch. They're very good. Their beers out of the can, they're all right, but they're not nowhere near what they are on tap. So Wiseacre just bought them out. Wiseacre is out of Memphis. Wiseacre's beers, in my opinion, are very average. So the Wiseacre people were like, "Oh shit, they're going to change into this Bearded Iris." The Bearded Iris people were like, "Oh shit, our beers are going to suck now because Wiseacre bought us." So I don't know what's going to happen yet, but I will say I'm excited for this transition because both breweries have their own niche. But here's the caveat to this. Wiseacre just came out with a clothing apparel company that's called IPAs Suck. And Bearded Iris is known worldwide for their IPAs. How does that play in? Like, I don't know how this all plays together.
So are they going to set up something like 2 different companies that's going to try to like fake battle each other?
No, so Wiseacre already said, and I guess the 2 owners have known each other for a long time, being Tennessee brewers, and I guess pretty much that Wiseacre has talked to them. They're going to let them run their own thing in Nashville for their 2 brew houses, but they're also going to bring some of their beers into the Memphis area, which is great for me. So I guess we'll see how it goes. But I'm a way bigger fan of Bearded Iris than I am Wiseacre, even though I live here. Wiseacre really makes some good stouts, some good lagers. They've won awards for their lagers like 2 years in a row. So, I mean, I think it could be a good collab. I just hope the two continue to have their identity, if that makes sense. You know, I mean, I hope they really keep their own thing and help each other out. So we'll see what happens. But
hopefully they both play to their strengths and are able to make it work.
Agreed. It's two of the biggest brewers in Memphis, and I really think they could make something special out of this if they really play their cards right. So this is standard, meanwhile, in Memphis. So a Wendy's general manager. I should probably pull my phone up so I get this right. So a Wendy's general manager. And you know what? I'm going to wing it because I read the story like 5 times. So a Wendy's general manager got into an argument with an employee about leaving early. She wanted to leave a few minutes early. He got into an argument with her. She called for a ride. The guy showed up, and him, the general manager, and this guy got into a verbal confrontation. People started videoing it. So it's a Wendy's general manager in Memphis. The Wendy's general manager pulls a gun, shoots the guy. A bystander said, the guy said, "Oh shit, there's a gun." The gun went off. The guy was then screaming for 10 minutes, and all of a sudden he stopped screaming. Yeah, the guy was transported to the hospital. He then died. The general manager is now in prison. He's facing a manslaughter charge and $100,000 bail, I think, or $120,000 bail.
Dang it, Bobby.
Like yeah. So because the guy's girlfriend didn't want to leave early, he ended up in the morgue, and the general manager ended up in jail. So it was
Dang.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And
welcome to Memphis.
Yeah, in Memphis. My number 3 story of the night, and it's not really a story. The Western Tennessee TriStar Herf is going to be held at the Memphis Filling Station on August 30th. We are going to start the day with a tour of Old Dominic at noon. We're going to have the Herf at Memphis Filling Station. We're going to have Haze Gray Cigars there. Haze Gray Cigars there, our sponsor, meanwhile, Memphis, which is why I thought this would come a little bit full circle. I'm going to be calling them tomorrow to set up all of the details. But Rue, Val, Pedro, I can't wait to have you guys in Memphis, man. It's going to be a great time. Rolling cigars, hanging out, selling your cigars, smoking your cigars, and whatever anybody else brings. We're going to be passing around some stuff, man. It's going to be a good time. But Memphis Filling Station, amazing place to have some beers. Hopefully Frank can show up. He was commenting earlier. If you can make it August 30th to Memphis, come down.
And this is open to not only TriStar Herf Crew members. This is open to everybody. We do a live Herf in East, Middle, and West Tennessee every year. It's a chance for everybody to come out, fellowship, smoke cigars, eat good food, tell stories. And you have to make sure that tomorrow you send LeeMack an invitation.
I'm going to. Yeah, absolutely. Now, the food at Memphis Filling Station, the beer at Memphis Filling Station, and now the cigars with Haze Gray being there. And it's going to be an amazing day. We're going to start the day at Old Dominic Distillery. It's going to be an amazing day. Reach out to me, DM us, hit the pod page, hit my personal page. I don't care. I'll get you signed up. It's going to be a great day. So I wanted to put that out there because Haze Gray sponsoring this segment. Haze Gray is going to be at the event. It was a slow news week, and I had training this week, so I didn't have as much time to prepare. But it was a great week, and show up in Memphis. Let's have a great time.
Meanwhile in Memphis, it's happening again. Meanwhile in Memphis, the sky turns wild. Stray gators and poles running free and wild. Some guys wearing mud boots with a suit on trial. Meanwhile in Memphis, let's stay here a while.
So let's close out the evening with a few comments. Hammer says, Memphis Filling Station is my home base. All hail Real Smoke from Josephus. Hammer is also on here. Says Bearded Iris IPA drops some in Scoffwall. Bought Bearded as majority owner as whatever. Wiseacre bought the shares from Scoffwall. Okay. Elvis Manager also sold I Hate Elvis badges while selling I Love Elvis badges. I can do that. Hashtag Real Smoke. No such thing as a good IPA. Money Matt says HDA Cigars, another great veteran-owned company. 100% agree. We had them on a couple of weeks ago. Had the Veiled Mutiny and the Cataclysm over the last couple of days, and absolutely love the Cataclysm. Amazing. So Garrison, good juice. Yes. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on here tonight. This was another very long one. We can't escape these long ones as of late, and we are trying. But I want to thank everybody for jumping on here. Huge thanks to LeeMack for doing this. Again, couldn't stop the stories. Loved everything that you guys you're doing for the cigar industry. Mick, you know what to do. Let's close this out.
Yeah, man. I don't have much that I can add to a great episode like this, man. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We could not ask for more. And LeeMack, amazing fucking night. I mean, it was just a great night of great stories and everything we look for and everything. The reason we started this, for real. Take time this week, smoke a great cigar with someone you love. And thanks, Charles. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you for everything that you do. Guys, if you don't follow LeeMack on all of his socials, go check out LeeMack912 on everything. And if you are one of the LeeMack supporters, give us a shot. Come subscribe to us. Come follow us on Instagram. Come follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Give us a shot. Let us know what you think. We would greatly appreciate it. Until next week, we have Mo Malley of Patina Cigars on here. Congratulations to all of our winners. And thank you to everybody who watches us on here for almost 4 fucking hours. We love you. Have a great night. We guys will see you next week. Peace.
The smoke is thick, the air is tight, cigars are lit, oh what a sight. Pour the whiskey, tequila too, this one's for Mick and Charles and you. Thank you for tuning in. The Real Smoke Podcast makes us so grim. You light us up, you keep us strong. Cheers to you, we raise the song. Conversations deep, the stories fly. Ashes fall, with spirits high. The gas is rolling, the penters flow. You've kept us burning, don't let it go. Thank you for tuning in. The Real Smoke Podcast makes us so grim. You light us up, you keep us strong. Cheers to you, we raise the song. From the flame to the end of the night, you're part of the glow, you're part of the light. Mick and Charles with a laugh and a grin. This flame burns bright 'cause you tuned in.